good evening, everybody. How y'all doing tonight? Boy, we have a really fantastic show. I have been inundated with a request to remote view what's underneath these pyramids, y'all. Okay, and that came across my desk. I don't know, what is that, about a week ago, and I have remote viewed under the Great Pyramid of Giza. Okay, under the pyramids. Okay, and we're going to talk about this tonight, y'all. Welcome in. I am so excited to be here tonight, and I'm so excited you guys are here as well. I see that chat. It is going nuts over there. There's a lot of people in here tonight, so I appreciate that. And thank you to all my mods for being here, and for everybody who has joined us tonight. I do have our good friend Barry Littleton here with me tonight, and Barry has actually tasked me with the coordinate remote viewing target of who built the Great Pyramid of Giza, y'all. And that is in my Patreon. We have a show on that. If you guys want to go back and watch that, go to my playlist, the remote viewing playlist, and you will find that show there. We did that a little while back, and I've got my data pulled up on my Patreon right now for that. We may connect some dots tonight with some of that information, because we have a lot of information on that. I think I did 3 or 4 targets actually in regard to who built the pyramids. And so we're going to potentially get into that, because that would absolutely connect to this target tonight as to what's under the pyramids. There have been some pretty wild scientific research revelations, let's just say, over the past, I think this actually came out back maybe in 2022, but it's, for whatever reason, it's in the news right now. I guess about a couple of weeks ago, it got real popular in the news, and it looks as though there are like miles long structures underneath the Great Pyramid, y'all, underneath these pyramids in Egypt, and that would suggest there was something way more advanced than probably what we were ever told was out there. And so, yes, I dove into it. I did a remote viewing session on it. And so you guys buckle up. This is going to be a wild ride tonight as to what is underneath the Pyramid of Giza. Okay. Actually, there's several pyramids out there. And so we're gonna get into all that tonight. If you guys would like to follow along with my data tonight, I do have a Patreon. That's where all of my data goes. And so all my members get to see all the raw data live and direct. If you guys want to go over there to my Patreon, it's the Cryptid Huntress over there on Patreon. And of course, you can find all of my social media links and everything about the Cryptid Huntress and all of the events I'm going to be at over on my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com. It's all down here on the ticker, I think is what I'm supposed to say. Clicker, ticker, picker, whatever. It's down there, rolling around on the bottom of that screen. So y'all go visit thecryptidhuntress.com. Also, I do have a shop if you guys like to shop and find really cool vintage Native American turquoise jewelry and stuff. I have a shop. It's called War Woman Goods. It's over on Etsy. And so thank you to all of my Patreon members, to all of the people who have been buying jewelry and things out of my shops. It really does help, and it means the world to me. And I also want to thank all my channel members with the Hunt Club. I did put up an exclusive video for you guys last night. It's called Roots on the Ground, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was actually kind of funny, and so I appreciate all my supporters over there as well. We have a really good time. If you guys want to join, just hit that join button over on my YouTube channel. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, let's get into our show tonight, because we have a lot of ground to cover, so to speak. And I don't even know where to start, but let's just go ahead and let me give you a little rundown of exactly what we're talking about. I'm pretty sure every single person, hopefully watching this tonight, has heard about what's going on in Egypt. And let's talk about it. Okay, let me make sure I get the right intro here. Okay, so recent studies suggest that there may be a vast underground city or complex beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza, with claims of multiple structures and pathways discovered using advanced radar technology. However, these findings have been met with skepticism from experts who argue that the technology used cannot accurately depict such deep structures, labeling the claims as exaggerated and unfounded. Fake news is what they're saying. Okay. But you know what? from the research that I did today, the people who are saying that it's unfounded are the fact checkers. I'm not saying they're gatekeepers and stuff, but we're going to get into that tonight. Scientists say they located 5 small room-like structures inside the pyramid using a synthetic aperture radar, or SAR technology. The group claims the 5 structures, which were previously unknown before the images, were found in the center of the pyramid. Data was compiled into images, which is believed to be below the pyramids, including the 8 wells. The hallowed structure consists of spiral pathways leading down farther underground. When we magnify the images, we will reveal that what lies beneath can only be described as a true underground city, is what one of the scientists said. So some say there is a strong correlation between the layout and characteristics of these underground chambers and legendary halls of Amenti, as described in ancient myth, which includes the Hall of Records, a hidden room believed to be underneath the pyramid complex, or the Great Sphinx, containing resources of information about the ancient people in the area. So what is truly beneath the pyramids of Giza? And I have been tasked with this as a coordinate remote viewing target, y'all. This is going to be really interesting tonight. And I've actually done, this is my 3rd target at least that I've done. I've done a lot of sessions on the pyramids, but this is the 3rd time. Like when I was learning remote viewing, I was tasked with this as a target. And then Barry gave me the target to see who made the pyramids. And then we've got this one as to what's under them. So we're going to talk about all that tonight. To help me do that, I have my good friend, Mr. Barry Littleton. He is a wonderful cutting edge researcher. He's got a YouTube channel and a Patreon called Barry Littleton. And y'all know him as one of my right-hand people here. Okay. Please help me welcome to the show, Mr. Barry Littleton. Hey, Barry.
Greetings, my friend. Boy, is this a hot topic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's super hot. Hot off the press, actually. And I've been contacted by several people asking if I have remote viewed this. Okay. And I guess tonight is the night we're going to go ahead and we're going to go there. Okay. What do you think about this? I mean, you and I have already covered the pyramids before, and what do you think about all the buzz that's going on about underneath the pyramids right now?
I gotta say this just to be adversarial. I hope it turns out it's nothing but some basalt pillars. No, I'm just
some pillars.
I don't know. No, I think it's well, look at this. It's interesting. One is that they use this SAR method uses the Doppler effect. And, the Doppler effect, actually, when we start getting into how you can prove some types of time travel, like closed time-like curves, that can be proved actually from that Doppler effect that it has on the satellites each year. So that's just kind of, I think I'll go off scene. So it's kind of interesting. The other thing would be when coming to things like what Earth Files and yourself and your viewing had seen about that Black Alaskan pyramid, about it being this power complex type of thing. This kind of goes right along with that also. So, it's very interesting. I was thinking earlier about how you had a guest on not long ago that was saying basically, and you and I have talked about bells a lot too, that they are actually sound generating transmission towers, or sound energy transmission towers. And that's actually using the sound and converting that into direct energy for use. And, when dealing with this here, and there was that book that came out some years ago, the Giza power plant, or Giza, that interesting book. I met a gentleman by the name of Trevor Grassi that I hung out with in Vegas last year, and he was talking a lot about the pyramids. He was actually on his way back to Egypt after that conference, I believe, and he knows the people that have done that SARS experiment. So he talks about that quite a bit. So he's somebody you can look up on YouTube, and just Google also Trevor Grassi, Grassi. very interesting. You know, he's last that I saw what he was talking about, it was all these tunnels that go down into the pyramid that are along the side, that are so many, and also along the side of the Sphinx. He was saying there were so many of them, some of them been deliberately covered up, like recently. So he was saying how some of these could have been entries into the Hall of Records, possibly. So, you know, it's just stuff like that's very, very interesting. And you know, there's gosh, I should have sent you that picture. There's one room. There's these bricks, these blocks near the king's chamber that emit this thermal radiation and heat that is unlike anywhere else in the pyramid. Yeah, and it's like what that little room beside of it. Sorry, I should have sent that to you, but I didn't forget.
It's okay. Well, I've got this. Is this the picture by any chance?
No, that's from the inside of that book, the power plant. Okay. And that's I think that's a very interesting representation. The only thing it's missing would be the Tesla things underneath there. But I mean, as far as this being, you know, it's very interesting, I think.
It is.
And these are things that are just coming forward now, the technology, whether it be underneath, inside. And we'll go into later about some other things that I had heard comedically, what the pyramids also did. So it's, you know, it's really interesting.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, then let's just kind of get into what is being said right now about all this. Okay. Because they're saying right now, okay, so there's actually a group of scientists that went down there. Let me pull this up first. Let's talk about this. Okay, so researchers claimed that there's that vast city potentially a vast city underneath the pyramids, and there are so Italian and Scottish scientists studying the pyramid of Khafre. Is that how you pronounce it, Barry?
Yeah, I think so. You got me on that. My pronunciation skills leave something to be desired.
I'm the worst. Y'all know I'm the worst. We're going to say Khafre. Okay, Khafre say the groundbreaking study has redefined the boundaries of satellite data analysis, SAR, and research exploration, aptly named the Khafre Project. Corrado Malanga and from Italy's University of Pisa, and Filippo Biondi of the University of, Strathclyde in Scotland, led the expedition to discover the Giza Plateau's second largest pyramid, the Pyramid of Khafre. Okay, now that's where they said they located the small room with the structures, and they went and did all that. They did that. It was like a satellite. They did like satellite pictures of it, is what they said, and from the sky, from outer space, basically, is what they were doing. And they picked up all this. It was like a radar, right? And they started going down into the bottom. They located an extra room, okay, like these rooms and all this stuff. And then they started picking up something underneath the pyramids. And it is so vast. Like they say that actually whatever structure is underneath the pyramid, Barry, guess how many times bigger it is than the pyramids?
The size of a city, isn't it?
It's 10 times larger and goes 10 times farther down than it is at the top, like on top of the earth. I mean, this is wild. It says that it's 10 times larger than the pyramids that we can see. It goes down 2,000 feet straight down into the bedrock. 2,000 feet, Barry. It's like a mountain. Okay. They connect to even deeper structures that goes 1.24 miles below the surface of the earth. I mean, that's kind of like, you hear about these deep underground military bases. I mean, that's usually about how far down those are, a little bit farther potentially. I don't know. But it makes you wonder, like, what, they weren't supposed to have this like modern technology back then, Barry, right? It's like, just slave labor, should I say? Like, I know that sounds terrible, but that's what we're told, right?
At this point now, that is so asinine.
I know, right?
For anyone at all, whether you're into the stuff we're into or not, scientifically, what they've been saying doesn't measure up at all. You know what Absolutely. I mean? A 5-year-old could tell you that. You know what I mean? So it's yeah.
It's absurd. It's absurd what we've been told. And it's just so odd that like all this is coming out now. Okay. All this is coming back out. It's all coming out now. It's like, I feel like we're just like in this this moment of disclosure in this little moment in time right now. A lot is being told to us that has been hidden for thousands of years. And this man, okay, what is that guy's name? He's like the Egyptian. He's like the minister of like covering up the history.
Or whatever.
Yeah, but to me, he's just the minister of gatekeeping, is what he is. He's like the antiquities minister or something like that. He says this is asinine. It's completely lies. It's all. There's no way that could happen. I mean, does he work for the
authorized
Smithsonian?
to do that? They didn't have permission to do that. That scam.
Oh,
He kept saying that too.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything he was saying just reeked of cover up. You know.
Yeah, it did. Oh, I'm trying to pull up my friend Crayon. I got my friend Daryl in the chat. And this is one of my oldest friends right here. Not that he's old. We've just been friends the longest, more than anybody else I know. Okay. Hey, Daryl. What's up, Crayon? I call him Crayon, y'all. Okay. But that is really, it is just
back to preschool, man.
It goes back to college days. Okay. College days. We've been friends. That's my ATL. That's ATL right there. Okay. I love you, Daryl. You're the best. Yes, like we're even talking like, yeah, we're talking way back in the day. But the fact that we've got the top expert on antiquities, the gatekeeper of all gatekeepers of Egypt, saying this is not true. It's absurd. Like you said, they didn't have permission. But what a lot of what he's saying, and some of the other people are saying, was like, well, their technology can't possibly penetrate the ground that deep. Okay, and stuff. I don't know. I found more pushback online than I did supporting evidence that this is true. Okay, but then again, we also know that there's a censorship going on to wash out the truth with the internet. There's fact checks going on. I get Wikipedia stuff, Wikipedia warnings on all my videos. I got one yesterday, and I knew I was going to get one because I talked about the reptilians.
Don't say that word. Somebody probably come up right there. Boom.
We're gonna see. Look, I whispered it. We're gonna see if I get one this time. I whispered it. Okay. But anyways, it's just a constant struggle to like get to the truth of things, and the truth is not readily available to us. We are not on the internet. It's readily available to us. Like we have this inner knowledge inside of us. A lot of us do. Okay, and we have to start tapping into this. And you guys can also check out the Cryptid Huntress on the Cryptid Huntress channel with the remote viewing targets that I do. But I'm just saying, we're going to have to be the disclosure on our own and figure these things out for ourselves, because the truth is so suppressed, Barry, from us.
Yes, we live in a completely concocted world, 100%.
Yes, so, I believe that. It's for entertainment purposes only. Yeah.
No! Serious!
Oh my gosh. Yes.
I don't want to get unalive, so let me stop.
No, if they haven't already gotten to us, they're not getting to us. I'm not even worried at this point. We're far beyond that at this point. But yeah, this is it's just really interesting that it's coming out right now. And if the Joe Rogan podcast has covered it, whoa, then it spread like wildfire after that. And I'm sure it was before that too. But anyways, let's see. Oh, I wanted to go over a couple more facts real quick, because it says that okay, so below the Kafar, okay, that pyramid, they say that there's 8 massive pillars found that are man-made. They're not natural. Okay, man-made, not natural. Let me see if I've got some pictures here that we can show of some of these things, because I did show you the radar, the sonar right here. And here's the raw data, if you guys want to see that. It's a little dark right there. But we have things.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
Bigfoot, Thicker Thucker's Bigfoot call.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Kind of, yeah.
That's right. Okay, let's see. I don't know. Is this the one right here? I'm not even sure. Okay, this is either under the Giza or the Kafar. I'm not sure. I think it's the Kafar. Oh, yeah, this is, okay, it says 8 massive pillars found are man-made. They're not natural. The latest radar scans show a possible underground city. Okay, a city under the pyramids. Now, would that shock you? That would not shock me one bit. But let's rewind a little bit, Barry. what have our textbooks told us since we were children before that, what these pyramids were built for? What were you told?
We were always told that they were grave sites.
Tombs.
Tombs, yeah,
Tombs.
which doesn't make sense at all, considering that there's never been one body, I believe, found in one, and all of them were built in that city outside of Giza, right? Or that city of the city of the dead, or whatever they call it.
Yep. We were told they were all tombs. Not one single pyramid in the Giza complex has a single tomb in it. Okay. A matter of fact, these are some interesting diagrams, Barry, as to what it looks like underneath these pyramids. And here's a picture right here. It kind of gives you an idea of how tall the Pyramid of Giza is. That's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. That's leaning. Okay, I don't know why they put that there.
Hey,
but
just a quick question:
yes.
Did you see any pictures as far as the scans with the SARS that appear to show these beams underneath, or these things underneath, besides what you just showed?
Well, I have these right here are supposed to be those beams, like the beams that are going down into the ground. That's what these are right here. What we're looking at right now.
Okay,
that's what that is. And I think this is kind of a representation of what they're supposed to look like, which, it's interesting because I remember all the diagrams that you've shown us over the years of what you saw that were powering those spacecraft. There was like a crystal with like a copper wire around it, if I'm not mistaken.
One of them, yeah. And I've said that I think that was a brain / engine. You know what I mean? Because I think it's also, I think the components aren't the separate things that I wanted them to be. You know what I mean? Which is a power source and a thinking source. But, a lot of ways we have brain power, so it's not unthought of at all,
Okay. Here's a diagram right here, Barry. This is kind of...
that's the fascinating one. I think that's a good one. And I must say, and I can't wait to find out how much can that truly be supported beyond the SARS picture. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it can't be at all. I'm not saying it can't be, but it'd be really interesting to find out. And if that's why these things generate so much power. And it's interesting because the things that I had heard many years ago concerning the pyramid and what it was doing back when it was constructed is different. That it was actually pulling water from the artesian well that's underneath there. And, that organal type of thing this was once the Nile stopped inundating or whatever, and it's interesting when you start looking back, they talk of another river being there in Giza and it being dried up or something similar to that. And that's what I'd always had heard, that was connected to that, but also that the pyramid generated great, not just great healing energies as well. So, and I just throw something else out real quick. All right. When dealing with the construction of that pyramid, or like the Moai, like what you had seen, I think we need to start taking it much more into perspective, our frame of thought, in dealing with, we think so much third dimensional right now, but we start thinking about 3D printing and 3D printing from another dimension. A whole nother thing going on, conscious 3D printing. If you remember the way you described, especially the Moai being constructed, how you kept seeing the vortexes around them, and then what almost sounded similar to me to acoustic scalpels. Okay, but we're dealing with, I think, some type of a 3D printing also from a total different conscious level. And you don't think something could be manifested like that, but it could be, especially when you're using sound technology from civilizations that are, thousands of years beyond us.
Oh my gosh.
So you were talking about some other stuff.
Fantastic. No, that's fantastic. And I love how you connect the dots with all of this too. And, Abbott seems to think there might be a more sinister side as to why they're disclosing this now. And Abbott says they're disclosing it to tie it all into a new world religion, maybe like a new world order kind of thing. And it could be, listen, I am so suspicious of everything now, Barry. It's like, why are they disclosing this now? Why? They could have probably done this a long time ago. They actually had this data back in 2022, from what I can recall from reading the articles on it today. I don't know. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time for that fake alien invasion, Barry.
Oh no. Hey, well, you know what? I have no idea. I have no doubt that they've done that. Like I don't want to repeat myself like I've done on other shows we've done, but I have no doubt that they're using that to throw our timeline. You know, I mean, because right now, truly, no one can really prove that we're not on one timeline. Honestly, truly, we know their edits, you and I do, but I mean, as far as proving that we're not on just one line is very difficult. And I believe the attempt to throw timelines is not nearly as easy as everyone thinks. It takes a lot of conscious effort during the right solar magnetic activity. You know what I mean? To really affect that mechanism. Because actually, in some ways, you know, it's anyway. Sorry, but yeah, it's just fascinating food for thought and nothing else. You know what I mean? It's
It is.
But
It is. Well. Okay. Ruth has a good point too, because this is what I believe as well. Ruth says, and they were built before the Egyptians got there, including the Sphinx. And I was doing some reading on that today, and I believe that is definitely a possibility as well. I even have something else too. Once we go over the data, I have another connection. I think a lot of the audience is going to make the same connection that I did on another target that I did a couple of months ago. It may have something to do with star forts. Okay. And so,
you know,
I can't wait to get to that.
I sent you image of a picture of a book, and it's called Initiation by Elizabeth Hayes. Very old book. I'm not that old, but I mean older than I. Oh, that was first laid on me when I was in about the 8th grade. An individual that gave it to me was like, I've been watching you a long time. Really just wanted this cat to get away from me. But he's saying, I've been watching you a long time. I know you remember things that don't go along with history or nothing with anything. And he was right, past life memories. He said, this will help you with some things. And that's one of the books he gave me. And, you know, certain things in that book really resonated. But as far as what that individual had said about things being built, the pyramids being built before, I have past life memories that are way before, close to what we would call Pangea. Okay. And the result after that cataclysm would be places like Egypt. And that wasn't the only one. You know, the others are sunken most likely. So anyway, it's but that book there, Elizabeth Hayes, she does she's actually recovering from a cancer. She's doing a juicing, all sorts of stuff, deep meditation. She started having this past life recollection. And she talks about being what we would call, I think around, gosh, it's been a while since I read it, I'm sorry, but I think it's around maybe third or fourth dynasty. And she refers to them, what everybody now calls, Anunnaki. Oh, I'm so sick of that word. But she calls it the sons of God is the word she uses for that race. And she describes their elongated craniums and how they go back and what happened before and how the pyramids were built, who built them before. It's just a good book in that way. A good one, just a reference book for I think anybody should really read that's into the stuff we're into. Those that are already well familiar with it, that is.
Oh yeah, no, I'm interested in reading that one. That sounds amazing.
There's a chapter called Bogar and the Staff of Life. That device there, talk about things that triggered me. I had to remember that device and others similar to it. So it's just a good book.
Well, we'll have to check that one out for sure. And Cryptidville has a really good point here. He says the reality of the situation, and he's a tech guy, by the way, Barry. Okay. And he says the reality of the situation is that there is satellite deployed devices that can see what is underground anywhere, anytime. They know. Don't fool yourself into thinking that they don't. So that's a good point, and I appreciate that. See, I'm not a tech girl, but I can appreciate it when my tech guys come in here and let us know about what's going on down there. And also I wanted to point this out too. Joe Preener says they made a pyramid house in Illinois, and the water kept coming up from the ground naturally, so they had to build a bridge. That's interesting because we were just talking about the water under the pyramids. Barry, you had brought that up. And I'm a little behind in the comments. So, that was about the water being underneath the pyramids. I mean, it's,
it's just another book I gave you a picture of. It's called The Underwater, The Pyramids of the Great, the Waters of the Great Pyramid. I sent those to you on Messenger, both those
Okay,
books.
I'm gonna try to pull
Yeah,
them up while you're
yeah,
talking.
that's not, that's a book that I read. Oh gosh, probably around 91, 92, and it talks about that a lot. And yeah, very fascinating. I think it also said that quote unquote Imhotep was chasing the dragon.
Oh, I was just talking
he
about a
made
dragon
meth.
today.
He
We
made
had
meth.
dragons. Like a real dragon, or was that like a metaphor for something else?
No.
Okay. Okay.
He made meth. He created meth.
Oh, never
Yeah, he
mind.
was chasing the dragon, Imhotep. And that book, I think it was that book, they kept calling him Little Big Head. Little Big Head talked about how he designed the step pyramid for Dozier, I believe it was. That was in the Secret Waters, the Great Pyramid. Amen, the Great Secret, and that's by Dr. Emman. I think he's dead.
Okay.
Anyway,
I am just downloading pictures over here. It's going to take me I got one more to download, and then I'm going to have them all up. But I do see the books right here. These are really interesting. You have like some thermal pictures that you've sent me.
Oh yeah, I got them to go through. Yeah,
Let's talk about that. I'm about to have them pulled up here in just a second.
Yeah,
that's cool. Okay, because it looks like it's really hot on the top. Now that could be from the sun. Okay, where the sun comes down and it hits it at the top and it just stays hot. But these are really interesting. So
the other picture shows the stones that are near the king's chamber. It's not in the king's chamber, but it's near, I believe. And it's 4 or 5 however many stones that are completely generating a deep heat that is nowhere else in that pyramid. And nobody could describe why. It's little things like that are really interesting about that place.
Okay, my computer is super slow right now, which is really odd. It's usually not this slow. Or maybe it's just usually this slow and I don't ever recognize that. Okay, here we go. Here's one of them. Let me take this comment down. This is the one that I was just referring to with that thermal. That's wild. You can really see how warm it is up there at the top. And let's see. I got another one right here. I think these are the stones that you were talking about. There we go. Here's the other one. That's interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they can't figure out. No one could describe why those are generating heat like that. I think that's fascinating. And little stuff like that sometimes gets overlooked. And anybody who wants to Google that, just Google thermal images of inside of the Great Pyramid. You'll find that stuff. They'll talk about it. Yeah,
that doesn't make sense unless there's something hot right there. Unless you just got to have a heat source. So there's no reason for that to be hot unless there's something.
Plasma or something.
Or you mean like a portal?
Stuff. I mean, your guess is as good as mine, Jessica.
Oh yeah.
But it's an interesting little science. I like to say, there you go, The Initiation. That's a great book. Imagine a lot of people. Your chat's very advanced, your audience, but that's a good book. One I recommend that anybody would read that has not. It's just good.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and we have this other book.
Late 50s, early 60s, maybe. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah. Okay.
There it is. Yes, the Great Pyramid. That book there was really a trip. It's a little book, but it talks a lot about that, the regenerative abilities of the pyramid, how there was a special chamber that was on top of the capstone next to it that would come down, and the pharaoh would get in it and be taken up to the top of the pyramid in this chamber for 2 days. And when he was released, like 2 days later, he would be like years younger due to the orgone type of energy that's in there. And they were comparing it mathematically to the same reason, like when you put a razor blade in a pyramid, it gets sharp again. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Something about the angles of it, the degrees or something. But that had something to do with this chamber that came off the golden capstone that was for the pharaoh would get into. They talk about the healing properties of it. Just very interesting when you start looking at Kemetic books like that, or things that are quote unquote maybe not channeling but ancestrally given down.
Oh my gosh, that is wild. And so I was showing these pictures earlier today. This is what they say that the pyramids originally looked like, because they had some sort of a white stone on the outside, like some kind of alabaster stone or marble, maybe. I don't even know what it was, but it was something that made it look white with a gold capstone at the very tippy top of it. That pointed capstone at the top. I mean, we talked about who built the pyramids a long time ago, and I did come up with some giants. I mean, the data that was one of those blind targets where I was getting like, I thought it was all over the place because I was seeing giants and UFOs and ETs and all sorts of stuff. Giant humans.
That was great. That was great.
That was right.
I had to ask the eternal questions. Well, what race are they? You said, man, there are all sorts of different types, all sorts of races. Mm-hmm. So it shows us that there was a actual effort, and as I understand it, as I've been told before, during context, that out in space, or with the other civilizations galactically, it's not like what we think. Sometimes they operate on their own principles outside of whatever governing force there is, okay? But that they all don't, even though they might be some of them positive civilizations, they don't all come together to there's a threat or something happens. Then they start working cooperatively. They're not all alliances like what I've dealt with. So it's just, stuff like that I think is really fascinating to look at, because so many of us have contact right now, and it's different with so many different beings, different alliances, different agendas. All this stuff is coming forward right now. How this place is really a laboratory, and you've got all these different beings that have come here work with this place. That's why I get irritated with the term Anunnaki. That describes just one group of beings that you see on the Sumerian tablets. By no means all the beings that have come here and done all the experiments here, not even presently. So we've got to really expand our modality,
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have an open mind. Okay, I do. And as a remote viewer, we're taught not to label things. Okay, but anyways, sometimes it's easier to label things. Okay,
well,
it is, especially when you don't know what you're talking about. So you just have a little bit of information. It makes it a little bit easier sometimes. But Moondog Davis says limestone gold and a massive ruby, which directed beams to starships. Now we're talking about what the material was that consisted, of the outside of the pyramids. That's interesting. Limestone. Very interesting. Okay, well, they say that the Great Pyramid of Giza was built 4,500 years ago, and there had to have been something highly intelligent. The people there, the civilization had to have been highly intelligent to build it. I was actually, I forgot about this, but it seems as though I think the coordinates of where that pyramid sits, it's like 229.9792458 degrees north. Okay, that's like one of the coordinate points of it. Do you know what the speed of light is, Barry?
186,282 miles per hour.
I don't know. Is it the speed of light? I thought it was the speed of light. Maybe it's the distance from here to the moon. I don't know. I thought it was the speed of light. It said it's the same. It's the exact same number as what that coordinate is. Okay, which is really odd.
Yeah, I've seen something like that. Yeah.
It is really crazy. Like how on earth is that so precise? Okay, is somebody pulling the wool over our eyes, or is this real? I mean, that's wild. The precise number.
For what it's worth too, and I'll bring this up because I found myself getting a little bit irritated today. I heard somebody speaking like they're this authority on Mars, and I discovered this and that on Mars, this and that, and all they're doing is talking about stuff that is in the book, the Cydonia Codex, that is done in the 90s, okay? And that book really talks about the Cydonia complex on Mars and how much a lot of the pyramids there seem to be aligned with Orion, just like the ones here on this planet. And also other things like the mask, how it looks like, to me, that looks like an Olmec mask, a head to me, but how it also has things that look similar to the Mayan temple, the Venetian mask, and those different masks like that. And they're making these comparisons that were quite fascinating, to be honest. So, it's things like that, I think, when looking at this civilization that existed here before, that I think really was more like type 2, and how it was expanded around this solar system. And that's really coming to the light right now, really coming to light, more than just the theories of Nibiru. You know what I mean? We're going beyond that. Hatcher Childress, who I met at Vegas too, also, guy kind of Ancient Aliens, that guy. The first time I heard about him was back in the 90s. Borderland Sciences had a book that they put out, a bunch of books that were great. And one of them was Extraterrestrial Archaeology. It's one of his earlier books. And he talked about some of the things like people don't seem to remember the Pioneer satellites. Everybody remembers Voyager, but they don't remember Pioneer 11, and things like the pictures that they took and things that look around that they like ancient alien structures on some of these moons and other moons. You know, that stuff is getting really, really interesting right now. And I can't wait to more of it to come to light and finally blows the top off this stuff now. Because this is stuff that's affecting our life right now and our civilization. We need to go forward. We need to go out into space, do other things, or we're not going to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Corey just put a comment up a few minutes ago saying that he said, as above, so below. And let me tell you, I actually wrote that verbatim in my data tonight. Okay, that's in my data, just so you know, Corey. Okay. Moondog says the pyramid was a huge hydrogen generator that powered a large maser laser beam. Okay.
I was just curious, where'd you get that information, Moondog? That it was a maser. I'm very interested to know where you got that information.
That's interesting. Oh, you know, all I could think about was Major Lazer. That's like a musical group there.
Well, you know, lasers used to be called masers. Initially, they were called masers.
Oh, okay.
It's just like particle colliders used to be called cyclotrons. Okay. But anyway, it's just interesting premises. I just wonder where that came from. You know, for me, it's quickly, because I think we probably go over the data or whatever. But you know, for me, yes. I get more into these things. You know, I really like science, but I like reality too, to a great degree. And certain things I look forward, like the really brilliant people that are coming out. Things like now, Judy K. King. She talks about you know, she's absolutely brilliant in terms of she did a lot of studying on the Egyptian Book of the Dead. All right, and the symbols also. And she believes that the symbols and what they're doing is actually, she created something called the Isis thesis. Okay. And this isn't the same as Cress Welsing and the Isis papers and the Cress color theory. That's not the same thing, right? This is from Judy K. King, and she calls it the Isis thesis. And what it really is stating is that our genome, our DNA, okay, we call junk DNA, can be awakening to help us our evolution and an advanced degree. All right. And also that ties into stuff like there's a book called the Electric Body by someone say Robert Jacob, I think is his name, but he's brilliant in terms of he's dealing with using electromagnetism to grow organs and regenerate organs. There's a gentleman on YouTube named Michael Levin. Michael Levin. He's done a lot of stuff with that right now, regenerating organs. That's starting with using like the plantar and also frogs. And you know how the frogs can regenerate their limbs? You know that.
Yeah.
And how that's a natural ability that humans should have as well. And
but we don't.
Electromagnetism. Exactly. But you know, that takes us into the phantom limbs.
What about the med beds too and stuff? Like, because we hear about that from like the Super Soldier program, right? They're talking about how they like got put into these regenerate, like Phil Schneider, for instance. Didn't he get in some kind of? I mean, I know that I don't know the whole story about Phil Schneider, but I know that he said that he got hit by a laser gun by an alien under Dulce, and he lost his fingers for sure, and it cut open his chest. But he had to have been in some kind of regenerative tank or something to survive that, I would think. But we hear about that a lot with the secret space program guys and girls.
I mean, if you look at that in reality, and you look, okay, I'm not religious, and I don't mean to step on anybody's toes, but when I read something like the story of Yahushua, of Jesus, all right, and when he got actually murdered, and I think they're not telling you the truth, which is like most black men, he got castrated, I'm pretty sure, and they're not telling us that. But anyway, when he was gone for a while and he comes back, and these angels come down, which they don't say exactly what they look like, but they come down and say, oh, he's not here anymore. Okay. And then when he comes back later, we start showing up. First, he's glowing all the time. But then like one of the last times he showed up, he showed them the holes in his hands, did he not? And he like ate with them, right?
Mhm.
To me, that sounds like somebody who was in something we would call more than a med bed, a regenerative alcove, a chamber of some type. And there's a quantum hologram they're using to communicate with people, technology. And then afterwards, when they're healed, even that type of advanced healing, you got stuff stuffed through your hands like that. You're still going to have, you know what I mean? But I think that's what we're dealing with there. I don't mean to, get on anybody's religion, upset anybody, but these are things that need to be really evaluated. You know what I mean?
Oh, I love thinking outside the box and looking at it from a different angle.
Real quick before I shut up, like that woman Kay King I was talking about. Well, I'm really into what she said. Why I liked her whole theory on the ISIS theory. Okay, is that actually that we start dealing with DNA and actually parts of our DNA and some of our actually proteins, that you have some that are stronger and some that are less, and how the less one actually folds what the other one encompasses, and they start forming what's actually Rosen Bridge, a portal, the same as the thing that I talk about, the Makos. They're making Makos. That is look. Anybody can look that up. That is small DNA, microscopic DNA makes these type of Mako wormholes. That goes galactically, how we're made of stardust and all that stuff. But the Egyptians were actually dealing with that and horizontal genetics, which is the same way viruses invade us. And she made and I think probably the science will back it up, that a lot of our junk DNA is, quote, viruses that are blended with our DNA, and also unknown bacterias. And that takes us to the bacteria called the phage. We've got a phage that is actually in our bodies too, that emits a type of light and actually attacks other hostile bacterias in a way that makes our healing ability unreal if we can access that. So when dealing with that, the Egyptians were dealing with that, and that's what she is saying the Book of the Dead is. And what it's really dealing with is genetics on that level. So anyway, I'll shut up from there. We're supposed to be talking about the underground of the pyramid, not this stuff. But I think we need to expand our modality, though.
Oh, yeah. Tennessee, Kentucky Bigfoot says there is a fungus algae in the earth that does regenerate limbs, according to the Bigfoots. Okay, and he and his son
most mycelium does
Bigfooters.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, most. And as far as that, check out for fungus. For more on the algae side, check out the Euglena, EUGLENA. It does that, as well as the phage. But the phage is a bacteria. And don't forget, just so everybody remembers, since I talk too much, the deep biosphere of the Earth and how that contains 95% of Earth's unknown bacteria and also fungal components. How I've mentioned that the ships you see going into the ground are sometimes organic, and they're melding and symbiotically getting with the deep biosphere. Something that we're not thinking, and we're not hearing that. We're too much hearing about reptilians. We're not hearing about this type of stuff. That's the type of information I get from the star beings. You know what I mean? I'm sorry it's not it's not popular in the media, but it's real, and it's stuff that can help our science and help our lives. That's where the meat of contact is. Okay, so what about the data? So
That's
I'm
important.
not saying nothing else the rest of the show. Well, what
Oh,
about
no, you better talk. I'll be upset if you don't. I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh. Listen, because I got all this data. I need somebody to help me make sense of it. Okay. I really do. Okay, let me go down, and I've got a couple of little key points about the Giza pyramid before we get into the data, because it was 455 feet tall, and I showed you guys a chart of that. The question's always been like, who built the pyramids? Well, if you guys want to know who built them, go watch our show. I'm going to go over some of that data in just a little bit. That Barry gave me those targets. Several. Let's see, when was that? 7/10/2023. That's been 2 years ago we did that. Gosh, 2 years ago. Can you believe it's been 2 years? Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So yeah, we've been doing some shows together for a while, and that was like the midpoint for us.
Kind of proud of that.
Yeah. So they say the Pyramid of Giza, the main pyramid, is actually made of 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighed about 15 tons or more. And they were always told that they didn't have like modern construction equipment to build these with. But I mean, in my data for those targets that I did about who built them, I think I was coming up with some of the sound frequencies and things that they were using for levitation. I also did a remote viewing target of that Coral Castle down in Florida. And the man who built that said that he was utilizing the same technology that the Egyptians used. He said the Egyptians used to build the pyramids. Okay, and I had remote viewed that too, and it did involve frequency and sound frequency.
Remember that box he had?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Remember how you just happened to see the giants holding boxes?
I did. Ooh. Okay.
That's when he didn't know what you were looking at.
Exactly.
Building something with these boxes, sound frequencies. I think that was your exact words.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's wild. Okay, so we do know that there have been no mummies found in any of these pyramids. Also, that they are, suspected to have been energy generators. You're going to see that in my data tonight. Okay, the data is going to tell us a lot about the energy generators. But some people think that maybe they were energy generators to distribute wireless energy throughout the planet. That's wild. Okay, I just did the show not too long ago. I had Gerald and Jane are in the chat today. I had them on the show. We were talking about star forts, and I had remote viewed several star forts, and we were talking about them on the show, and we're trying to figure out what is a star fort. Okay, well, it just feels like there's something that they were. It was almost like a wireless power center. That's kind of what I was getting with that. I think, this is my opinion, I do believe the star forts all over the world could have been connected to these pyramids, and the pyramids all over the world. We have the only pyramids are not in Egypt. They're all over the world. Okay. I think the star forts are connected to the pyramids. And I think this got something to do with this wireless energy, like a Wi-Fi. Okay. All over the world. Okay. But, yeah, ET involvement as well. You and I have already explored that, Barry. There is 100%. Probably the ETs made it. I mean,
I think it comes to a question of how many.
Yeah, and how many races?
Were all of them of giant stature, or are those just the ones that were visible? Were the others microscopic?
Ooh.
By the way, that last word, just real quick, we need to study salamanders to regrow limbs.
Yeah.
Actually, there's again that guy. He's got videos on YouTube. Michael Levine, Levinn, I believe. He's got they're working with this type of gel that they're using to actually put on. They've chose a type of frog that regenerates, I think, a little quicker than the salamander, but they're actually putting this gel over amputated places on the frog, and it grows it back like 3 times as fast. So that's something he can look up there. I just started bringing that up. Sorry, you were saying something really cool before that, though. Sorry, I didn't mean I go off my deal.
Well, no, we're just talking about the star forts and stuff.
Oh yeah, the star forts. Yeah, we know that goes back to Tesla's whole. What's the name of that one tower that Tesla built? What's the name of it?
The Tesla Tower.
Yeah, what's it? No, it's called something. It's called something. I want to say like Sally. That's Sally Mae. That's the college people that take your money.
Sally Mae is a financial company. That's right.
It's like I told my nephew, you better pay them back. They don't play. But anyway, it sounds like that. But I mean, that's that whole wireless transmission, free energy thing. And that's similar to what some of your guests was saying he thought the Tantarian Empire was doing with the bells, as far as being sound energy transmission towers. You know, that's fascinating. Right now, when you look that up, people say, that's just a science fiction thing, doesn't exist. I don't think so. I think it does.
Everybody in the chat saying Wardenclyffe. That's the name of it. The Wardenclyffe.
Wardenclyffe.
And I don't know, so I'm just going to assume that everybody's right. It's in this chat.
Hey, you got to see a lot of people. Your chat is sharper than me, so
Wardenclyffe.
Like last time, I couldn't remember the name of the place with the H's. It's
Wardenclyffe.
Pumapuco, however you say it. And that's about the coolest thing about that place. And I think the door, the sound door, the portal.
Oh yeah. I don't know. It's really interesting. It's so cool that all this is connected, though, isn't it? It really is. And this, oh man, Nikola, everybody, you know, credits him for discovering the Tesla coils and stuff, but they probably had that back in ancient Egypt. Tesla. Nikola Tesla.
Before that, who did? Oh, thought you said
Nikola
Fred
Tesla.
Sanford. I'm sorry. I really thought you said Fred Sanford. I'm over here
Sanford
tripping. Yeah, so I was like, "What? What does he got to do with Tesla?" I was like, "Yeah." I thought I was weird.
I didn't say that.
I got to go back and tease Moondog just a little bit. When he said that,
Okay.
do you know what that reminds me of about the maser beam? It reminds me of the episode of the original Star Trek where Kirk got lost his mind. They had the monolith, and it turns out this monolith on this planet was actually a deflector system. And it pushed that huge meteor that's destroying the planet, pushed it way off. What he's kind of would say that the pyramid was used for something similar to that. I think that's kind of cool, to be honest.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. It wouldn't be right if I did go geek on you a little bit.
You get a little geeky every now and then, and that's cool. I appreciate it.
So start laughing like that on you,
Well,
Lord knows.
I love how they we do have the technology to thwart threats that are incoming from outer space from hitting Earth. I actually had a very good friend of mine who worked for a major company. Let's just say auto manufacturing. I can't say it. Auto manufacturing, or just I don't know if they made engines. I can't remember what all they do, but it's one of the major companies in the U.S. And one of his jobs was to watch the satellites. To see things that were incoming from outer space, from coming into Earth. And I'm not sure they had I'm not sure what all they had to thwart it, but I'm sure they had something. And his job was to man the skies, man the outer space, basically to man the cameras and everything, the satellites that are watching out there. So,
I've heard two things, that they have weaponry that will fragment it, and also something similar to the Rex Osiris satellite that collected pieces from asteroid Bennu. They also have these things that can actually jump on it and change the orbit of this thing, or change the direction of it. Yeah, like these gravitational deals. So I don't know. That's fascinating. And hopefully we're not due for another strike for another 1,000 years or so. It'd be real nice.
Yeah, I hope not. Oh well. Okay. Well, somebody somewhere knows what's headed our way, if anything does come this way. And whether they tell us or not, I don't know. Okay. And okay, let's get into the data. Okay, why don't we get into the data of this? Because this is under the Great Pyramid of Giza. Okay, this is whatever's going on underground there. Okay, now, Barry, what do you think? Now, you've already seen my data. Were you expecting this to be an underground civilization, like a place where people are living? What were you expecting? What did you think the data was going to be?
I didn't have any, to be honest. I kind of just kept it nebulous. I thought it would be something that confirmed that there was technology that would pull water out of the artesian well, and also purifying and something to that degree. I thought it would have something more to do with life energy and underground water source than anything else. So,
okay, good answer, because I didn't know. I had no expectations myself, or of course, thinking about all this, I'm like, all right, here we go. I mean, I've done several targets where there are underground civilizations, right? We talked about the ant people. Okay, that was one of my targets. Let's see, the ant people. What else? The Grand Canyon, I think it was one of my targets a while back. Real quick, can you think of any more?
The mountain range, the next to a SETI there, the Sleeping Lady Mountain Range.
Oh, the mountain ranges. That's right.
There was a city in there, remember?
The Area 51 target that I did as well for Tyler, that was that one where it went under Mount Shasta, where that guy was the liaison between the military and the Lumerians. That was another one
that no one talks about. You remote viewed GCE Peru. There was a city under there, remember?
Yes. Yeah.
And technology.
We've done quite a few civilizations that are living underground or have been underground at some point. There's quite a few, and several deep underground military bases. I don't know if we're going to count those, but they're still down there.
Why not?
We can, right? Civilizations.
for example, like when hearing things like some of these honeycombs inside the earth, there's some of them that they have nowhere, like no tunnels or anything to get to them. There's supposedly a city still inside of a few of them. No one knows how these structures got there when there's no way in or out.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's weird. That's
why I
weird.
talked about that 3D printing of things from
3D
another dimension.
printing. Well, that's how that's what they say. That's what Elon Musk is doing it for Mars and Venus. I talked about that when I had our chemo on the show. I was doing my research after he had given me those targets about the, colonization of Venus, I guess. Like it was some target that he gave me a while back. And I was looking up, when I was looking for information on it right before we did the show that night, I found that they were taking 3D printers to Mars. And that's how they're actually setting up their colonies there and stuff. And that's what they're planning on doing, is using 3D printers to make the whole little civilization they're planning to put there, as if they don't already have one. Okay. But anyways, Kevin Bode, thank you for becoming a member of the Hunt Club. I appreciate you being there and for supporting the channel. And Firewater by Design, thank you so much. Kicking the party off. I'm a little late to the party. I did not see all these over here. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate you, and I hope you're feeling good. And also Kent Baxter, thank you so much. I wanted to read his comment real quick before we get to the data. He says, Thoth also said he left his spacecraft deep under the Giza pyramids in case the Earth was raided. Need the right DNA to fly it. Whoa. That's kind of deep right there. And that's something that we've also been talking about a good bit lately, are portals and having to have the right frequency to go through them. And in some cases, having to have the right DNA to be able to do certain things when it comes to driving spacecraft and all that kind of stuff. So that would make sense. Right, Barry? Yeah. Okay. Very interesting comments here. Thank you so much, Kent, for that super sticker too. I appreciate you. Okay. Well, let's get to the data. All right. Let's get to this data. Below the pyramids. Okay. I'm going to go straight into the sensory data first, because this is going to tell everybody exactly. Let's pull this up too. Copper. I like that. Okay. I don't know if copper's in my data tonight. Okay. Immediately when I got into this session for this target, the first thing that I was picking up on was electricity. Okay. Now remember, this is under the pyramid. And actually, why don't we pull up a picture while I go over the data? Okay, a picture of what they're saying. Okay, according to these scientists, this is what they're describing as underneath the pyramid right here. Okay, so this is my data, my sensory data. Electricity, hard, digging, important, voluptuous, voluminous, conduit, smooth, and ethereal. Now, my analytic overlay was power grid, shocked, electric, voltage, rocks, crystal, plant, process plant, nuke, Vogel. Now, Vogel is actually a power plant down here. Okay, so it's like a nuclear power plant. When I wrote down voluptuous and voluminous, I wrote down shampoo bottles. And I want to tell you why I wrote shampoo bottles, because actually, I'm going to take this down, because I was seeing in my mind two shampoo bottles, like a shampoo bottle and a conditioner bottle. And that's what I was seeing in my mind. So I wrote down shampoo bottles. And this is my sketch, because that looks like shampoo bottles. Okay. And so that's how remote viewing works, y'all. I'm seeing something that's probably not what the target is, but that's how I'm interpreting what I'm seeing. And so that's what I wrote down. Those are batteries, y'all.
Those look like batteries.
I literally wrote down shampoo bottles. And,
His batteries, but Jessica's talking about Head and Shoulders.
I did. It was like, yeah.
You should be thinking about Duracell, the buddy.
But I didn't. I'd written down voluptuous and voluminous, and I was like, oh, shampoo. And I was like, oh, and now I started seeing shampoo bottles in my mind. And so that's when I drew those shampoo bottles, which actually aren't shampoo bottles, probably. It looks like two batteries. A matter of fact, It doesn't look too different from that right there, you know, and that's just a little piece of what I was seeing. Okay, so I wrote down that, and then right after, oh, this is wild because right after shampoo bottles, Barry, I wrote batteries and battery, because I think that actually awakened me. It kind of put me in that direction, because when I saw them, I wrote them down. I was like, oh, that's a battery. Those aren't shampoo bottles. So I wrote down batteries and batteries, and I wrote down conduit, pull down, and I was picking up on information like pulling down power from the ethers, because I wrote down ether, power, pull down into the ground. So it was like grounding some sort of power, so grounding some kind of electricity into the ground. And that's what I wrote down. And I actually wrote down I wrote down the phrase free energy. Okay. And so the target is, that's my first page of data. That's stages 1 through 3. I would say whatever I'm remote viewing right here is like a power plant, a nuclear power plant is what I was picking up on, because I wrote down Vogel and nukes. Okay. So I was seeing something that looked like I was even thinking of like those stacks that they have at the nuclear plants that have the steam that come out of them and stuff. Like that's kind of what I was seeing a little bit, even after I wrote down the shampoo bottles. What I thought were the shampoo bottles, I was seeing stacks with like smoke coming out of them in my third eye, I guess you could say, or like in my mind. That's what I was kind of seeing. So what are your thoughts on all that data so far, Barry?
I want you to keep going.
I'll
chime in later. Yeah, that's good stuff. If you don't mind.
Shampoo bottles. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to stage 4. So this is the next part of my data, and I'll pull this back up again so you guys can see that. So
only one thing I will say is, it's interesting because you're describing them as being accumulators of electricity then to power something underneath, but that actually the pyramid themselves is gathering it from the ether, similar to the way a theremin grabs that sound from the atmosphere also, which is what Tesla wanted those things to do, that he was doing more or less, right? I mean, that's real interesting, because that's what I was getting there. They're actually pulling that energy and then storing it down underneath. At least, unless I'm wrong, that's what I was getting from the data.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yes, yeah, it's pulling down energy out of the ethers, and and that's what I was wondering. Like, was that, we talk about the Tartarian Empire, and was that the mercury balls they'd keep out and stuff? Like, I don't know. It just felt like very Tartarian. You know what I mean? Like with the Tesla free energy stuff. Like that's kind of what I was getting. So they obviously got there in my mind. After reviewing the data, I think that the Tartarians got their inspiration from the Egyptians, or from these pyramids. That's what I think. After this data, I mean, I've got 3 more pages of data, so let's keep going. So stage 4, I wrote down some of my sensory data was harvesting, and I was seeing what I thought was a battlefield or something. Like I was seeing that because I actually wrote down energy harvest and loosh. Okay, so it was something that was, because I remember I told you I was like picking up on something that was pulling energy out of the atmosphere. And then I actually wrote down, like I started seeing like a line. I actually drew a line. A line was drawn in the sand is what I wrote down. Wars were fought over it. I literally wrote whatever this is. A line was drawn in the sand and wars were fought over it. And then I picked up on sand, because I said a line was drawn in the sand. So then I started seeing sand. And I wrote like dry desert landscape. I thought maybe I was in the Middle East. I wrote Middle Eastern. I did pick up on an Egyptian Ankh. So I did see an Ankh, and I wrote that down. I also wrote down an Omega symbol. If y'all know what an Omega symbol looks like.
Wow.
And I wrote down, here's what I wrote. I wrote down Omega Stargate. Right there. I don't even know what that is. I know what the Omega symbol looks like, and I know what a Stargate is, and it looks like that. So I wrote down Omega and Stargate underneath it.
Wow.
Why are you shocked? What's going on?
Oh, sorry. I thought I was muted. Oh man, sorry.
I can hear you.
Sorry. Damn.
Tell me what is it? I love your reactions. Tell me, what is it? Omega.
Well, it's just okay.
I love it.
I just mentioned Bogar and the Staff of Life, an initiation book, right?
Oh, look, the Staff of Life. Is it? Oh gosh, I'm dropping stuff.
Look, the Staff of Life itself, although she describes it, what it does and how it vibrates, but it looks similar to an Anka. But then she talked about how also in like time prior, before the pyramid started eroding to where the fourth dynasty was, the Anka, the power of staff was always kept in the power stone, and it would control the lightning and the weather. That's all. That's all.
Weather manipulation
like
weapons? Weather manipulation?
Yeah, and gathering energy as well, just like what you were saying, though. The same thing. You know, in other words, I guess we could say it's like kind of in some ways like Thor's hammer up there,
Yeah.
but with orgone abilities too. Oh, good. Sorry, please keep going through the data. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt like that.
No, it's good. I love your reactions. That's why I have you here.
Yeah.
Okay, I need your reactions. That's
It
good.
caught me off guard when he said that. I was like, whoa.
Really?
That's the connection I put immediately. So, wow.
Oh, wow.
Kind of cool.
It's just backing up your gut feeling, okay, and what you already know, what you inherently know. I mean, I just kept seeing that Omega symbol, and that's what I was seeing. And then it reminded me of a Stargate. So I wrote down Omega and Stargate underneath it in the Ankh. It was actually through the Omega symbol that I started seeing. I was seeing the Ankh through the Omega symbol because it looks like the top of an Ankh, actually.
Hey, Kay, can you pull that Great Pyramids picture back up again? The book?
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. Right here.
No, the other one. The waters.
Okay, is it this one?
See that symbol?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. That looks like what's under the pyramid. Barry.
That book has got exactly.
And I drew oh my God, look. That's what it looks like what I drew. Oh God. Hold on. I'm so excited. Hold on.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. You know, and I apologize. I know there's probably a dozen people in chat that know so much more about the symbols than I. I know it's a DJed on the bottom and an Anka, and then something that book describes why that symbol is.
Can you see that right there? I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, pull it over just a little more and see one of them. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
That's crazy. And then look at this. Okay,
that's
and then
amazing.
that. So that's wild because that's on the bottom, and then like something like this is on top of it, kind of. I don't know. I that's wild, y'all. That's wild. Okay, that's why I like working with you, Barry. This is great. Okay,
well, it's cool because you can't make that stuff up.
No, this is wild. Okay, this is crazy. I got so excited I knocked everything over off my desk, y'all. Y'all heard that? I knocked my light off and everything. So wild. Okay, so the last thing that I wrote down on that page was Ankh or Ark. I actually wrote down Ark, A-R-K, and Ankh, A-N-K-H. So I wrote down both. I don't know what the Ark has to do with anything. Except the Ark of the Covenant, that's been in the news lately. Have you heard about that? How the remote viewer located the Ark of the Covenant, or at least one.
Not until you told me about it last week. I hadn't heard about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I wonder what's coming of that now.
I don't know. Okay, so after I wrote down the Ankh and the Ark and the Omega and the Stargate, my sensory data for page 3 was totality, omnipresent, and omnipotent. Omnipotent, actually. Omnipotent. I got to put the right accent on the right syllable. Okay, so omnipotent. And I wrote down all encompassing for my AOL. And then I saw the compass star, that nautical star that I talk about a lot. Like when Arkeem comes on, we've talked about it, how they've got like the nautical star that's like it points you to where the jump rooms are at hotels and stuff. And at the CIA actually has that in their lobby, is this nautical star. And I actually wrote that down as a drawing, like with the north, south, east, west. So I wrote that down. And then I wrote jump room and portal. Okay, now I'm still remote viewing, and unbeknownst to me, it's under the Giza pyramid. So I'm seeing a compass with that nautical star, and it says jump room portal. And then get this, Barry, I started picking up on a large hadron collider. Okay, and I wrote down CERN. And then I wrote as above, so below. And then I wrote down sorcery, magic, and hyperdimensional. Sorcery. It's sorcery. Now, what are the chances of there being something similar to a hadron collider? Like maybe that's just how I was interpreting what I was seeing, because it's some kind of big energy generator or something, like a power generator. But I wrote down CERN, hadron collider is what I wrote down.
Aren't there Isn't there a symbol that looks similar to the collider?
This is what I wrote down. Okay, I'm
Collider?
just gonna show everybody. Can you see that? I
Mhm.
just wrote that down. That's what I wrote, and I kept writing those. I keep doing those swirly lines every time there's like a
That's
portal
also
or
a
something.
Mako as well.
Is it? There's because there's two of
Yeah.
them, right?
A Mako's designed similar, spherical,
Yeah.
I think. Spherical, helical. Yeah. Oh,
I don't know. Okay. I did write. So sorcery and magic. And the Egyptians were known for their sorcery and magic, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so let's go to the fourth page. This is the final page, actually. Hey, Javier's in here. What's up, Javier? Let me see if I can get his comment up. This chat is moving really fast tonight. It's moving really quick. I can't keep up with it. Okay, so after I wrote down the sorcery and the magic and the hyperdimensionalism and all that kind of stuff, I started picking up on time travel. Okay, and I actually wrote some of my sensory data was like traveling, something that was galactic or intergalactic is what I wrote down. Something that was open. I felt like I was kind of. I wrote down space. I had just written down I was just writing down the portal data and stuff like the Stargate. And then I started feeling like, it's almost like I feel like something, whatever I was remote viewing was transporting people, humans, whatever they are, to another location. Okay, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I was picking up on, I even picked up on, okay, so I'd said nukes in the beginning. Remember I said nuclear, like a nuclear power plant? Towards the end, I actually was picking up on, I wrote down space and intergalactic data. But towards the end of the session, I picked up on a neutron. I wrote down neutron bomb and an atom bomb. Okay, so I was picking up on some kind of explosive type of bomb or data or something. I wrote particle collider. So I'm still on this. So this is the page after I wrote down CERN and the Hadron Collider. I wrote down particle collider, accelerator. I wrote down and a well-oiled machine. And I was picking up on something that was okay. I was picking up on something that was like solid and it was exploding outward. Okay. Maybe it was plasma too. I don't know. There was something that was like a ball of something and it went out like that. And that's when I wrote down neutron bomb and atom bomb. And then I was picking up on something that was moving up and down, up and down, up and down, and then side to side, back and forth, up and down, and back. And it was moving really fast, going up and down, side to side, like all simultaneously, going all over the place. And that's when I wrote particle collider and accelerator. So, but the well-oiled machine was the last part of my data. There's a little bit more on there, but you guys can go check that out on my Patreon if you want to see all the data, the raw data right here. But what are the chances of there being something like a hadron collider or a particle collider back then? I mean, I don't know. It's a little out there, but that's what my data said, Barry. What do you think? Or even a nuclear power plant or something. Like, it was some kind of
that page overall. What do you think? I'll tell you what I think in a minute. Overall, what do you think that was?
I think it's just it's a massive, massive power plant. And if you were to ask me, I do think there's a connection between this Egyptian pyramid and the star forts all over the world. And if there's a connection to all of that, and if they can throw out power that strongly, I'm not saying that all comes from that pyramid. If it's wireless power, like Wi-Fi kind of stuff, it has to be strong, and it has to be just massive. I don't know. You're holding your head. Am I sounding crazy?
No, it's just that it's just taking me a different place, and maybe I'm not interpreting it right. So I don't want anybody to think that I have the answers. It's not that. But what you just described to me, and the data that I just heard, described the pyramid as being a craft to me, and it going other places in the galaxy. And it's so interesting to hear that, because I've heard before Kemetically, some of the people have said that the pyramid was a type of a ship also.
Hmm.
and that it was
I've heard
capable of
that.
interdimensional transport and things of that nature when it was first built. And there are even pictures of like the Great Pyramid flying out in space with the Sphinx and stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those
Yeah,
illustrations, but that's been said
absolutely.
before that it was a craft. And you're not just that, you're mentioning a transport craft
Hmm.
for transporting different. I mean, that to me, I don't know. I think we really don't know. I mean, when you go back when these things were built, really, what this is changing things a lot. It's just for me unexpected data on that. I mean, like I said, I could be interpreted wrong, but I swear you're describing the pyramid as being a craft, and that means was it coming to what to and from Orion? Is that the place? Is that why it attuned to that area, or is that because Orion is the Stargate there? I don't like Orion. Okay, sorry, but I mean, but nonetheless, there's some sort of a gate there. I think there's a reason why there are always wars there, just like there are always wars in the Middle East. They're warring over that portal.
I said that there was the wars. I said a line was drawn in the sand. Wars were fought over it. That's in my data.
Wow. So I mean, but
Yeah,
this takes me to the see. Now my mind is blowing up.
that's
How
why we're
many of
here.
the how many of the pyramids around the Earth were craft then? That wouldn't have been the only one.
Yeah,
We're so much calling them power sources and all that. Were they something entirely different or both? I didn't expect that one, and I got to be honest. I didn't get to read the last parts of the data, or only the first page before we did this. I just didn't get it. I was too busy today. But so that just caught me by off guard right there. Wow. Look at the chat. What do the chat people think? They know more than
man,
I'm tripped
it's
out on that.
it's wild. We've got a
Is that why some of
fast
these
chat
pyramids
tonight.
were buried, not just so that they wouldn't conduct more power, but so they wouldn't fly? And this takes us to what you and I talk about Phantom High Brazil and the Phantom Islands. Those are craft.
That was definitely a craft. It came from inner Earth, for sure. I 100% picked up on that.
Wow. So
Yeah,
you're
High
looking at
Brazil, and
something
it
that
had
would
to come
be
up to get like that solar power, right? I think it was like solar power,
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
recharge.
That's one of my complete hypotheses. And what I saw completely confirmed what your data gave, and that's a trip because I got that from them decades ago about those Phantom Islands. About right around the time that horrible King Kong movie came out where he's on the ice like it's King Kong versus Kerrigan and he's spitting on the ice and that was terrible. But that movie around that time was when I got that information about High Brazil. Sorry, that's the only way I can compare it because it kind of came with the Phantom Island of Skull Island with that sorry movie.
No, I thought, when you first told me what that target was, I was like, man, because I was getting inner Earth data and something that was having to rise to the top I mean, it was definitely having to power back up by the sun, I think, or whatever was in our atmosphere. You know what? It didn't even have to be the sun. It could have just been something that was in our atmosphere, like what was in the ethers, right?
No, those crystals are solar magnetically charged, and they have to be recharged. And I don't think they're Earth crystals, but nonetheless, I think that's what they need because there's only so much. Power has to come from somewhere eventually, and being inner Earth like that, there's going to be completely cut off from natural sun rays. And I see everything.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has to regenerate. Everything has to regenerate and recharge sometimes. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I did the target
Wow.
last week. Was it last weekend or the weekend before last about the green children of Woolpit? And those are little kids that like came up from inner Earth, I believe, potentially through a cave or a portal or something. And they said that where they were from, they didn't have sunlight. They just had twilight all the time. There's nothing but twilight, no sun down there at all. It's like they didn't even have their own sun. It was just twilight all the time.
Well, you know what that describes?
Hmm.
Admiral Byrd's smoky god.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you and I have already made the correlation. I've told you before. To me, the smoky god sounds an awful lot like Mel's ice. The ice.
Oh man, y'all, Barry, there's so many connections to all these things that we've done, all these targets you've given me and stuff. It is so wild. And it's almost like we've got all this hidden knowledge that we're just kind of tapping into and putting it out there. And it's taken us like what 2 or 3 years, but we're connecting the dots all the way now, right?
I don't know what to deal with this one, man.
Yeah,
Okay,
this one
they're
is
all
different.
crap. That's. I'm
This,
kind of have to try to conform my mind to accept that to a degree, but it is what it is. I mean, that's just very interesting. It's not something I had proposed. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or even conceived, to be honest. Outside of just
yeah.
hearing that comedically a few times. That was years ago. That the
Wow.
pyramids were spaceships. Wow.
Hmm. Well, they're definitely some sort of power station for sure, no doubt, and I think they have something to do with potentially something like a nuclear power. I was picking up on like the nukes, Vogel's a nuclear power plant around here, and I don't know, it's
And he's sure that Vogel strictly was relating to
Vogel.
nuclear.
I
The
don't know. I
reason
wrote
why I
down
have
Vogel
this
because I was seeing the stat, like the nuclear power plant have those large they're like chimneys, kind of like what the UFOs you're seeing flying around all the time. That you and I had covered that before, the nuclear plants and the UFOs.
crystals.
Oh, well, it could be that too. Well, I wrote Vogel like Vogel, Vogel. I think that's how you spell it.
Vogel crystals from
Oh yeah.
Marcel Vogel. You know, I did a whole deal over Marcel Vogel and how he actually did those analysis, the microscopy of those ship fragments that show definite cold fusion, evidence of cold fusion, something we can't do yet. I think we still can't do cold fusion. That's why I want to talk to your nuclear physicist friend, see what he thought about those analysis.
Well, we were out there squatching a couple of weeks ago. I stayed at Don's house. We all crashed over there after we went squatching that Saturday night after the Bigfooting thing. That's a good dude. Don's a good dude. So yeah, that's our nuclear scientist on the team. And I think he retired, but they still needed him. He actually puts on the suits, and goes underneath the nuclear site and like works on the whatever. I don't even know how that works. I have no idea. Whatever he's doing is very dangerous. So, but nonetheless, that may be why he's got all those pill crawlers and Bigfoots slinking around his property. They're attracted to the radiation he brings home or something.
Oh, they were going back into the old stud. Movie Stud, cannibalistic human underground dweller, or chemical human underground dump. I think they had two names for it. Those creepy movies.
Oh gosh. Oh man. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, a good part of that data was actually about batteries, and I did write those batteries. I drew something that looks a lot like the batteries, and then I wrote battery. What do you think about the under whatever this is? Okay, so here's the thermal, like this is supposed to be the satellite image, right? So this is supposed to be what it looks like. Hold on, let me get a better picture up here so y'all can see it. Right here. This is supposed to be miles underneath the ground right here. Okay, miles. Those look like, I mean, it looks like something that's grounding, maybe taking energy from the earth. I mean, I don't know, Barry. What do you think? I mean, you think
I'm not an expert on thermal images, but to me, I don't know. It looks like, I don't know, like there's heat generating from the top and is going down, opposed to coming up, which is kind of more what you described the pyramids doing. Being collectors in that way. At least that's what I'm kind of seeing, but I could be wrong. Like I said, I'm not an expert on thermal scans by any stretch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think this is Brandy. Vogel is on Savannah River. That's right. It's out there. He lives right on the border right there of South Carolina and Georgia, kind of. So it's yeah, you are correct. It is all the nuclear plants are by a river, right? And yeah.
Creek.
Yeah, creek or river, some kind of big old water source. But I think it's interesting that on that book with the Ankh on it, it looks a lot like what this right here is. Okay, these look like batteries. These look like batteries. Batteries were a big part of my data, and that's what I drew. That's what's under there. Okay, now this is all we've got that Egyptian what is that guy? He's like the minister of antiquities. He says, no, absolutely not. It's not possible. There was no civilization underneath there. I mean, I'm not sure if he's denying that there's structures under the pyramid. I'm not sure. I think that he was more saying that there's no civilizations under there. There was never had been.
Who knows
But
what
he
they
knows.
gatekeeper, man. That cat's a
There's
gatekeeper.
something down there. There's more down there. Everything has been a lie.
Just like the Hall of the Records, I'm more interested to know
The Amenti?
more about that. Yeah. If someone was asking Trevor Grassi, I'd heard years ago, I'd heard back in the 90s they had found that. And that they went down there, there was obsidian black man, a giant with the Anka pointed up towards Orion.
Like a statue?
Mm-hmm. That's us. That was going. I used to go get all my books at this black bookstore, and the brothers down there were hip. And this is back in the days when they would get the information by fax a lot. Remember those days, the fax and microfiche?
Oh yeah.
Back in those days.
Oh yeah. That wasn't that long ago, Gary. That was not that long ago.
Yeah, they were connected. And I loved going there because most of the books I would get didn't have a barcode on the back of them. So the information was always, very, very intriguing. Wow. Yeah, man, that's pretty heavy.
Okay. I want to quote what that chief of antiquity said. Okay, Zal Hawass, or Zahi Hawass. He's the chief of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, the supreme leader. He has dismissed the discovery, stating that there are no new discoveries to be made at Giza. Quit looking, everybody. There's nothing to be seen here. Nothing new. However, Collins maintains that this is from an article, y'all, in case you're wondering, maintains that his extensive research has revealed no modern records of these caves since Salt's explorations, challenging Hawass to provide any reports related to them. Anyways, I was just trying to point that out because he says there's nothing new to be found at Giza. They've already discovered everything. Quit poking your nose around, everybody. And how dare you pull the satellites over us and look down in there? You're wrong. Okay. So that's what it feels like.
That dude's a jerk, man. I remember
he's doing his job.
I remember it has to be like 20, 25 years by now. I mean, you might remember this when Maury Povich quit doing his show and he had the special where he went down in there with Zahawas or whatever, went down in some of the
tell him he is not the father. I'm just kidding.
He went down there and I remember this Hawass and told they were sitting down there and going over some stuff and Maury's starting to kind of sweat and dude looked at him. He said, "Maury, I told you not to shave. You shaved. I can see you shaved. I told you not to shave. The bacteria down here, the stuff." And Maury's sitting up there, "Hey, lay off, would you? Lay off, would you?"
Why was it? What was the bacteria going to do to him?
Well, when you go down in those tombs that have not been open, some of the bacteria, the fungus down there is ancient, and viruses or whatever, it can get into pores if you shaved like that. Get in your pores, and they say that's how some of the people that broke into King Tut's tomb died. One of them died of like something like that. So that's
one of the curses, I guess.
He was on him. I told you, Maury. I told you not to shave. I told you not to. He's going to shave. Lay off, would you?
Oh my God. Man,
I don't know.
That's wild. I used to love Maury, but it was he yeah. He wasn't looking for pyramids and stuff back when I watched. He was doing DNA paternity tests every show. So that was my entertainment in high school.
That was like a special. Hey, that's all right. We all got it. Finally, I could bag on you for something. Okay, sometimes I would watch Montel Williams until he was so arrogant. He'd have Sylvia Brown on there, and Montel was referring to himself. Anyway, but he actually was a TBI survivor, and he does that thing with that breath, that oxygen thing. That it's a TBI type of device that he swims with. Interesting brother. Anyway, but anyway, we're talking. Here we go on our weird deal. Let's keep on the pyramids, man. Maury Povich, tell Williams. That sucks.
Oh my gosh.
That's a ratings killer. You probably lost about 10 people right there.
Oh no, I think we all love Maury. We love Sally Jesse and all that stuff. And listen, I grew up in that time period. I don't know. Y'all are going to be able to see how old we are tonight. Okay, you can date us.
When I first started listening to Sally Jesse Raphael, she was on an AM radio show called TalkNet, and it was way before she was on TV, and she was really good at it. And after her came on, was it Dr. Westheimer? Yes, and then Larry King after that. That was just before I discovered Art Bell.
Oh yeah, those are the good old days, for sure. Okay, yeah. I was just looking over my notes, and part of what that antiquity guy, the supreme leader over there, said that they were saying that there's no satellites that can penetrate that deep to know what's really down there, and that's what I read, actually, as for what they're basically, just like with anything that we have here. There's always a cover up, right, Barry? There's some sort of cover up.
One individual pointed out earlier, you pulled it up. They can scan way down there.
Cryptid.
Somebody you said was an expert. Yeah.
He's a tech guy. He knows about technology and when it comes to.
I'd be interested to know what the names of the technology they have that can scan down that deep. I like to know so I can try to find out more. I just because I do believe that they have stuff. I think they've been doing that for probably 50 years by now. Yeah,
probably. I'm sure of it. And if we don't think that, like Cryptidville said, Mark said, if we don't believe that they don't know exactly what's been down there this whole time, we're pretty crazy, okay, or naive. You know what I mean? To believe that they don't already know what's down there exactly. And so he wasn't lying when he said that every inch of the Giza pyramid above and below has been explored. They're just not telling the public about it. Okay. It would change the course of history. It would change our history, just like with that's why the Smithsonian, this is for entertainment purposes only. This is why the Smithsonian allegedly went around and took up all the giant bones and cordoned off the Grand Canyon when they found the ancient Egyptian settlements there with the gigantic Buddha statues and all that kind of stuff, allegedly.
Jessica, do you ever hear anything about the pyramid of, was it Cholula?
Yeah.
Supposed to be, that's
in Central America, right? It's like the biggest pyramid.
Pueblo, Mexico. It's the biggest one.
And is it this one right here?
We never hardly hear anything about it.
Oh, the one where I just talked about yesterday with the reptilians?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. It wasn't that one. But it was a Mesoamerican, though. That's a Mesoamerican pyramid.
Did you make that image with that?
I did it with AI. Yes. Isn't that good?
Yeah.
I know, right? A lot of times my AI turns out looking rough.
Would you use the body of Charlton Heston as Ben-Hur and put a reptilian on the head? Is that Spartacus?
I mean, he's a good looking reptilian. Okay. He looks nice. Okay. I don't know. I was going to make a joke about going around kissing frogs, not reptilians.
The lady that did all my artwork, Sarah, Christine did it.
Yeah,
she had one that she did that was this reptilian, and it's like this blonde lady sitting in a bed, and she's like got her covers over her, but she's going like this, like she's terrified, and this reptilian is like this close to her, looking at her like that when she's in the bed. And I mean, this is like back in 2016, 2015, I had posted that. And this lady went off on me and she said, "Barry, I'm appalled. My reptilian husband isn't like that."
Oh, God.
And then she begins to send me all these illustrations of her hugged up. They're like cartoon illustrations, her hugged up with this reptilian. And then these little kids, little hybrid kids are all around, and they got the white picket fence. I swear to God, there's a white picket fence in this deal. And they're sitting back there, the little kids, they look like
American.
They look like they have the jaws that could drop down low enough to follow somebody's head.
Lord.
You know what I'm talking about? They look like that.
That's terrifying.
They look like they were one of those.
Oh my. But with the white picket fence, I mean, you never know who your neighbors are, y'all. Okay, right, Barry? We never know who's living next door. Okay, the perfect family with the white picket fence, they might be able to eat you if they want it. They have those jaws that unlock, and they will devour you.
Yeah,
If you ever hear anything that sounds like the Predator, y'all watch out. Okay.
Now when we first met, didn't I send you that video?
Which
of
one?
that reptilian creature swallowing that young unaliving that young person's head or something.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, look, is it just me? Didn't that look real? Like not just some movie shot. Didn't it look very real to you?
It did.
And I can't find that anywhere anymore. It's gone. That was creepy as could be. It's for some movie. I've never been able to find what movie. I've never seen it reproduced anywhere, and it looked like one of those
dark web stuff.
And I think that's what happens. Dark web. Yeah, I think that's what happens to some of these inner Earth. I think that happens to young people sometimes.
Yeah,
maybe
I think they leak that stuff out, and that's why they have the dark web and all that kind of stuff, so they can leak stuff out. So to let certain, let us know what's out there. If you dig deep, you find that kind of stuff. But I think it's real. Soft disclosure.
When you did the deal under the reptilians under LA, my brother got a big kick out of that because he lived in LA probably 15 years or more, and he thought it was just so ridiculous. I said, well, how could you say that when you said it? First of all, he had experiences, but number two is the stuff you've told me, because he used to pump gas outside of Hollywood there, and he would talk about during Halloween. He said, man, all over the place. So you don't understand. Everybody's a makeup artist. There's people walking around with all this stuff on. And he described someone will look so vivid, so real, that people will just take pictures with them. And these people never say anything. They're just gone. He's convinced that in real life, there are ghouls that come up and are walking around with people in LA during Halloween, especially.
Imagine all the vampires walking around. I mean, I think most people in Hollywood, no shade if you live in Hollywood, but a lot. I used to go there once a year or so. One of my best friends lived in LA, Santa Monica actually, and we would go to parties. We'd get VIP, cut the line, red carpet, and all that. I used to go to a lot of Hollywood parties back when I would go visit her, and I hated it. I was not a fan. I just felt like it felt like literal vampires everywhere. And there's, like I said, no shade, y'all. No shade, brother. I just didn't, and that was back when I used to go out and have fun all the time and stuff. And I still got a really bad vibe.
You know Luke Perry?
No, I didn't meet Luke Perry. No, we were going to different kinds of, no, we didn't.
How about Chuck D, Public Enemy?
Well, DJ Lord is a friend of mine, actually. He's the newer DJ, and no, he lives in Atlanta, actually. So no, he wasn't out there. Yeah.
Get Jones talking about her rap connections. You see?
Oh man, you know what's wild is that I was actually we were about to go into this one club in LA. It was like this big club, and we were walking up to the front and stuff. And I looked over, and these guys were standing there. It turned out to be my friends from DC who are actually music producers and stuff. And they saw me, and I was like, "Oh, those guys are with us." So I let them in too. It was wild. They were like, "Tay Jones." I couldn't believe I saw friends from across the country there in LA. And so I had all sorts of connections back in the day, man. I had so much fun. Not today. Now I just chase Bigfoot around the woods. Okay, Barry. And I try to solve some of the mysteries of the world with you. Okay.
We've been to LA twice, and once was for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and about a week and a half, and it was in Inglewood. Man, I'm all right, man.
Inglewood, I was up to no good. Right?
Yeah, I'm good. That's a rat race out there, man.
Yeah.
But my brother mentioned something else. He had said how there were these two little green cats walking around in the crowd, and they're looking at the skyscrapers and stuff like that, and they're just getting pushed along with everybody else. My brother said he said, but people just think they're people in costume, walking around in costume, freaking out, or maybe even making a movie or something. So, but people are moving so much, they're just pushing right along with everybody else.
Yeah.
They look like these little aliens. My brother had said. He said he's seen stuff like that out there. So, I don't
Well,
know.
there's also just a lot of strange folks. It's a good place to go people watch, but they might not all be 100% human. Okay,
Oh, definitely not.
it kind of felt like I was on the movie set of dang, what is that vampire movie with gosh, what the Lost Boys? I think it kind of felt like that. Yeah,
Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer
Lost Boys.
Sutherland. Yeah,
That's probably the best vampire movie, actually.
it is. It is the best vampire movie. That and Underworld. Those are my two favorites.
That's a
Yeah,
good one too.
they're
The
very
thing about Lost
realistic.
Boys is, Grandpa saved the day. That was great.
Yes, that's right. That's right. He knew what to do. I know.
But you know what's interesting about that movie, though? All jokes aside, that was, I think, the first time I'd seen so vividly a hellhound represented, and it was the leader's dog. Was it Thorn? I think his name was Thorn. It was like a white German Shepherd, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. That's the first time I'd really seen that displayed so vividly like that. Maybe H.P. Lovecraft too. H.P. Lovecraft had a movie. Man, I was crazy about this. It came up when I was getting a haircut earlier. From Beyond. I know you don't like movies that much. There's a movie by H.P. Lovecraft called From Beyond that the guy that plays Wayoon from Star Trek Deep Space Nine is in. Reanimator, same little era. But the thing about this movie is they make this thing called a resonator. And when you turn the resonator on, it vibrates the pineal gland. So when they turn on the resonator, all of a sudden they start seeing like these things that look like fish and different creatures going around in that. You tell them, don't move, don't move. Why? Because you're in an energy field, they'll see you. And he starts talking about the other one that comes, the bigger one, the one that's more demonic and things. It's just interesting because, that's not so far off when you start using the pineal gland and start really moving it and decalcifying it. You can see these things around us that are called energy zoa or critters. The ones I told you made me sick around my cloudbuster. And I've had people ask me, are they archons? I don't know what they are, but I know they feed on negative DOR, deadly orgone radiation, that binds nimbus clouds together and also accumulates in those machines. So but I can't tell you, hey, that they're definitely demons, but they feed on that energy. And to me, they look similar. They look similar. Oh, I knew you were going to say it. To me,
you couldn't remember what the word was. I had to say it out loud.
I was trying to do it because I don't want to go to the Jolly Rancher thing. You're always going to push me that for cherry mash, like eat a bunch of cherry mash. And that's
you put them in you put those in your Zimas. I know what you're talking about, Jolly Ranchers and stuff. Yes, I drink Zima.
Those are terrible.
I don't drink those. I'm just saying.
Why did you put Jolly Ranchers in them?
I might have had one back in college, or something. I remember everybody was always getting those and putting Jolly Ranchers in.
It's all right. There was once upon a day, I wanted to be cool like Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian, so I was drinking some Colt 45.
I had the I know about the 8-ball now.
Old English.
Anyway. Oh man, you were having. I'm getting flashbacks. Very careful now. Okay, I know, right? Yes, Overbill Automotive. He says the Cryptid Huntress. I bet Jessica liked that Twilight guy. I'm Team Jacob. I like the werewolves.
Oh man, I don't believe. Yeah. I'm not going to talk about.
I prefer the werewolves over the vampires. Okay.
They're just cuter. When I used to work with juvenile offenders, I was an administrator, but one thing, the cats are on the highest level. There'd be like 2 or 3 of them out of 50 kids. 5 of them, and the deal was the administrator would take them to a movie. So these cats are, reformed gang members and all that. I said, what movie you want to go to? They all tell me, Barry, we want to go see Twilight. Twilight? I thought they want to go see either that or Drumline. They want to see. They all voted Twilight. We go watch that thing, and look, I sat there with these young men, and I endured that movie. And I went to the restroom 3 times, but I came back and sat there and endured it. And, I couldn't take it anymore when they're out in the forest there. And he goes, you want to know why I don't come to school? And he goes like that. And then he starts, look, man, before I shut up, man, look, Jessica, every movie, I like the old school, like Bela Lugosi, Christopher Lee, this old stuff like that. Any light hits a vampire, what happens? They either turn into ash, fire, or smoke. They ash. Not Twilight. What happens? They twinkle. They twinkle when they get hit by light.
That was great. I know.
And she's, oh my God, he's so beautiful. That was so cool. I go, man, this movie sucks. And these gang members are going, oh, Barry, shh. Oh, God.
Hey, I thought it's a good movie.
I kept thinking at the end of this, maybe Wesley Snipes will show up as Blade and it's all over.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great movie. That's one of my favorite. I love that movie. I love those movies.
Blade?
Yes. I love Blade. I think Blade's great.
You know, he's in that new one with Ryan Reynolds and Wolverine.
Oh, is it Deadpool?
Yeah, he's in the new Deadpool.
That's favorite. My son's dressed up like Deadpool since he was a little kid. Okay, so he's got the spandex outfit and everything. Joe Oregon Bubble says in Terminator movies they use CERN-type colliders for time travel.
He's right.
Wow, that's wild because I had CERN colliders and time travel all right there in the same area of my remote viewing data on those 2 pages. On 2 pages,
He's
actually.
Right. You know, they illustrated that really good in the Sarah Connor Chronicles when they showed how they're sending them back in that. That was even a better representation. Yeah, he's right. That is a CERN type of collider, which you didn't actually see to the later movies, which is kind of after John Teeter came out. The first movie, you never actually saw the time technology. You just saw them arriving.
Oh, wow.
And the one dude taking it was the hardest stunts of all time. The guy that played Reese, when he comes through, he slams the wham! The actor said, man, that was a real stunt you saw there. That guy slammed hard, man. Anyway, but no, that's so many of these things I think that come out in movies are, really starting to show us some things like that. It's quite fascinating to me. And the further back you go back to older movies, the more real it gets,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And, it was all just such science fiction. We were growing up, we were watching those movies as kids. And now as we're getting older and wiser, we're seeing those movies were real life, actually. It could have been. So it's, like I said, it's for entertainment purposes only. Okay.
Type 1 civilization. You've got them making portals at the drop of a dime, using Earth's portals, using the diffusion regions of space between the magnetic points between the sun and the Earth. I saw one of the later Ancient Aliens. They're talking about that now because they also call those not just diffusion axonal regions, but X points. And they're talking about how these X points, and that's stuff that's been around for a minute. You know what I mean? But we're dealing with civilization that can use that. It was right here on Earth, using these type of pyramids thing. What you're describing, pyramids as travel devices, power sources, accumulators.
Yeah.
Okay. And also portal control. I mean, that's impressive. That's hopefully what we're going to go back to. And humanity has that ability here.
Well, now that we're exposing it from the supreme leader of Egypt over there, who is covering it up, I guess. Not that we're exposing it. This is just remote viewing data. Okay, it's not my intention is to expose everything. It's just data, y'all. Okay.
Hey, did you look at that thing I sent you, David Pauletti's on Coast to Coast a couple of days ago? And he finally talked about Bigfoot a little bit again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was talking about something that was very interesting. They had said, him and George Nori, whatever. Anyway, but he asked him if he thought that the giants and the Sasquatch, the stone giants, different giants and the Sasquatch were the same thing. And Pauletti's thought they were same. He didn't think there was a difference between the mountain giants and the Sasquatch like we kind of do. I thought that was interesting. And then he described something else, how there were several wars between not just the Piru one that we're familiar with and the cave deal, but how there were these others problems with the Sasquatch killing, the mountain giants, as he said, killing clan members and tribal members and stuff like that, and how they started stealing babies and how they started tracking them down by their fire. They were using fire. and it would track them by fire. The warriors would band together and track them down by the embers of their fires and things, and track them that way. And that's why the mountain giants stopped using fire publicly. That's a pretty fascinating story, isn't it?
That's wild. I mean, it makes sense, but I've not heard that before. I never heard that. I've
always said that. I know people jumped on my case. I've been jumped on a few of my Sasquatch views. That would be one of them. I think they have the ability to make fire. And I said before, it's been proven that Neanderthal had fire. And I think your last show, I mentioned that. I don't want to go back into that. Ray Dong Chong and Wings Hauser and Ron Perlman, who later on played Vincent in Beauty and the Beast, and then Hellboy. But before all that, he was a caveman going, oh, and he was there. They were trying to save the fire. She could make fire, and she was the only one. So we're trying to protect her and to protect the little chamber they had the fire in. But still showing that Cro-Mag Neanderthal had some type of fire. I think Sasquatch having the same. Along with that, and what I believe is their connection within Earth. And it's always going to come back to that. And I think that if anything's going to get blown apart and really exposed, it needs to be that. These facilities that are underground and the companies that are connected to them. Not just talked about it. There needs to be a paper trail and bust these people. Seriously.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. I'm all about the disclosure at this point.
Even that place that one of them we can trace. The place in Puerto Rico that got hit by that Hurricane Carolyn that released the chupacabra. Look, that data's strong. There's no way you got that and John Vivinco got that too. You didn't know what that target was. They'd say, hey, by the way, Jessica, John Vivinco thinks that something got hit by a hurricane. That didn't come up at all. That's raw data that came up between two different parties there. And then when I looked that up and say, gosh, what hurricane, when did Chupacabra come around? Whatever year it was, 91, 94. And I started looking up what year, was there a hurricane that year? Puerto Rico.
94.
Hurricane Carolyn. Yeah. That doesn't mean it makes it 100% sure, but boy, it sure is a smoking gun. And as my beautiful mama used to say, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah. And your mama was right. That's for sure. Yeah. And speaking of fire, we got Super Saiyan Yet up in here. Thank you for gifting all those memberships. You gifted like 10 memberships actually to the Cryptid Huntress crew over here. Thank you so much for your support. That is so sweet of you.
That's really cool. I gotta be honest. I don't really know what that means. That means they're giving memberships to somebody people like grab them. Or I don't understand. Is it?
Yes, I have a membership on the channel where I do exclusive videos and have exclusive content there, and so you can join. I think it's like what, $3.99 a month or something. It's not too expensive, y'all. I try to make it where it's not too expensive, so everybody can do it, and if you wanted to, and so you just get access to all my exclusive videos over there, and I try to post one at least once a week, and yeah, it's just something different to do, and it's just it's a good way to kind of take part in the community here a little bit. So you gifted 5 memberships and another 5 memberships. So thank you. And then you gave a super sticker. So thank you so much. That's so awesome. I appreciate you. Okay. But
that was flying, man.
It is. We've had a big crowd in here tonight, and I'm not shocked because I know this is a very hot topic right now, and I think that people have a lot of questions about this, and with the scientists that are coming out, the people who are the archaeologists and the scientists from, what was it, like Ireland, I think was where one of those scientists was from. And there's just people from all over the place that have been studying these pyramids for a long time. And for them to have access to this radar satellite or whatever they were doing, and finding this, this is monumental if it's true. And it's so wild because we're hearing that this data is real. We're seeing the pictures of it. They're showing us the raw data. It's out there. It's in the public. But then we've got the Minister of Antiquities negating it and saying it's not real and to quit looking. Okay. And so then it's like, well, people want answers. So, let's solve this. Let's go see what the remote viewer has to say. Maybe, I don't know. It's just data though. Okay. I'm not saying this is 100% correct, whatever. I'm just saying it's data on a blind target. I think the target lines up.
I got another question real quick.
Okay. What's that?
Okay. Have you seen that video of it's supposed to be from a chronovisor, and it's supposed to be Jesus carrying his deal in it.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I mean, how do they have somebody with a camera there? My question is how do they get the footage? You have to have someone there holding a camera. I don't think Jesus and his disciples would have been. That would have been sorcery back then. Okay.
So
how did they go and they put a little miniature camera there? Did the 3-letter agencies go and hide a camera in a bush? I don't know. They could have. I don't know.
I think it's a point to where it's
weird, right?
It was a bit much, man. But if that's the case, why don't they use something like that to actually look under the pyramids and things? And the one thing I won't laugh at is because I do believe, on the serious note, that the chronovisor is actually a real device. And I think it's used by actually historians that are quote unquote here. And the reason why I say that is this experience right here. Okay, when I went through this as a kid, and I'm standing with these Nordic individuals. Okay, at first this was metal. Okay, like a metal wall, and the guy standing up goes like that, and suddenly whoop. And I can see my mother and I down there. I can see the water tower up there, and it almost looks like I could see where my feet would be. Okay, and that when I've showed that ship before, that ship appears to have what's windows on it. Okay, from the outside, and in these metal grates. Sorry, I don't have that. That's handy, but anyway, the ships I've been on board, they don't have windows because they're living, they're organic. But this one, that guy went like that, and it went like that. Alex, as his name was. Okay, and when looking at it from the outside, that's why I'm convinced that those are like historians, time monitors of some sort. And I think that screen you saw there is a real chronovisor, and how they would be using that to holographic record everything that's in the site there. That's a real way to do it, I think, without interfering with the timeline too much. You know what I'm saying? So again, food for thought. That's why I call them the Temporal Commission. I call those cats. And I looked very deeply into that, and I tripped out. It was one thing. I used to talk a lot of trash on the Nordic stuff, but I didn't realize that was part of my experience too. And when saying that, I took a great interest in that because these guys have on these real tight blue suits, okay, with that metal thing on there. But when I started looking around, when I started looking around at other contactees, it drew me to George Adamski. He talked about the cats from Venus that had on these blue suits, and they were like these Nordics. So I started looking at his whole thing about Venus a whole lot. And that's how I wound up coming into also that Dr. Blair was a contactee, and he went to a George Adamski conference and got approached by these two melanin dominant individuals telepathically that said they were from Alpha Centauri. That led me to giving you Alpha Centauri as a blind target, and also Alpha Proximia as a blind target as well. And at first, that's one of those targets you thought you were looking at something on Earth.
Mm-hmm. I did. I thought I was looking at Earth in the future, is what I thought. With a lot of those targets you've given me that are off planet, I thought I was looking at Earth in the future.
The good thing, though, you didn't pick up on a bunch of slavery on Alpha Centauri, not like in Trappist.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Yes. M13 says Montauk sent child time travelers back in time to look at Jesus. Yeah. There was a woman, actually, this is wild because I've referenced this guy's show a couple of times. I don't really watch it very often, but that Sean Ryan guy had some remote viewers on his show. And he had this woman on there. I was watching this episode where he had this 3-letter agency remote viewer on there. And he asked her if she had ever remote viewed the crucifixion of Jesus. And she would not answer. She wouldn't say a word. And that's something that people have always like kind of thrown out there for asking me if I've done it. And I've never done that. No, I have not.
Ed Dames did. He did a deal with Art Bell. I'm sure it's still on YouTube probably. Yeah. They reviewed the Turin, the Shroud of Turin.
Oh, the Shroud of Turin. Yes. He remote viewed that.
Mm-hmm. I think it's on YouTube still. Art Bell he talked about with Art Bell.
Yeah.
Not as interesting as when he talked about remote viewing Satan.
Oh yeah, that's a wild one. I took it as, so people were like up in arms about that lady not answering. They're like, oh well, she's demonic. She's a remote viewer, and I don't believe that at all, y'all. Okay, but I just feel like, look, if she was with the 3-letter agency, she probably can't talk about those targets that she does. I'm just saying. So I don't know. She probably has a penchant. I'm just saying. But if she's on that show, she should have answered her questions. I'm just saying. That's what I always say to people. I'm like, look, there's just, if you talk to like remote viewers who have been most of them are not going to talk to anybody publicly. I don't think they ever would about their targets.
See, that's how the field of RV has greatly changed. Yeah. It's like a household name now, remote viewing.
I know, right?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Well, but the people who say they're remote viewers don't know about the kind of remote viewing I do too.
Well, they're
the majority of people I've met. I've met maybe, I don't even know, not many people that actually are trained like I am in remote viewing. People who say they're remote viewers. I'm just saying.
See it, and that's just like if we were on here, like a lot of times astral vision. I do that with the targets I'm giving you. But I don't sit up here and say, hey, I'm a remote viewer too. I'm not.
It's all just language. It's jargon. It's language. It is what it is. Yeah. It is what it is. But you know what? But I'm just happy. I'm just happy there's so many people that are tapping into their psychic abilities, and no matter how they're doing it, it doesn't matter. That's what the world needs right now is more tapped in psychically people. Okay. Switched on psychic people is what we need right now. It doesn't matter how you're doing it. Just do it, y'all. And I hope that we can encourage people to do that through the show that we do together, Barry. And I think it's great. I mean, everybody can do it.
I'm not doing you like you do me. I'm letting you off the hook because right now, you know good and well how frustrated you are by people that aren't really real RVers and they're saying that they are. You know what I mean? And I know.
Well, they're writing books on it.
I'll let you get away with it. I'll let you get away with it.
It's just when it's just when they're writing books on it. We pick up their books. You and I are together looking at the books, and I was like, "There's nothing about remote viewing in this book." Okay.
I waited.
I'm just saying.
I'll be honest with you. I waited over a year for you to see that, and I never said
I saw it. I saw it.
I wanted to see it. I was like, man, and it's the
only
time. I
quit seeing the best in everybody. That's what happened.
Sometimes if I can see you get upset. I thought maybe you were impervious to like anger and upset, but not that time. You didn't like that at all. That was classical. The look on your face, I'll never forget it.
There's just something about it when you train for so many years in something, and then it just kind of gets diluted by, experts that I can't even have a conversation with about it. So it's just,
I think that's why I always keep in the back of your mind. I know you're not ready for that yet. But I guarantee you, when you decide to put together a program and train people, you're going to have a whole bunch of people that want to come do a training with you on real remote viewing. So
I would love to train my people. Yeah.
And when the time is right, I think Spirit will push you to do it,
Yes.
Or urge you to do it, I think is a better word. Urge you to do it.
Yes. When I get some time, I would love to do that. I think that there will come a time where I'm going to be prepared to do that. I'm just not ready to do it right now. I'm too busy, chasing Bigfoots and stuff right now, but I'm not always going to be doing this. Like the head of my team always said, he was like, well, I'm not always going to do this. So y'all enjoy it while you can. Enjoy my presence while you can. I'm just kidding. Not me. I didn't say that, but he would joke around about that. And because I'm the kind of person that, like, I'm here, like I do my job and then I move on to something else, and I just keep enhancing what I'm doing. And so this is fun right now, but maybe one day that will be what I do. We'll see.
When you met me, I was still very obsessed about never telling anyone I was a hypnotist.
Mm-hmm.
And I got exposed involved since then. But I mean, since then I've done a lot of people, but I'm starting to have now a lot of other hypnotists coming to me and things of that nature. Some of them have more experience than me, but they're wanting to know how I do the system I do. And it's a system that I designed myself. I didn't have anybody holding my hand through everything. You know what I mean? And I've been very hesitant to give out the techniques that I've developed myself and perfected myself, because it was tough. It was not easy. It took a lot of experience and information. And I just wanted to just give it away. You know what I mean? But now it's come to a point, this place is in so much trouble. I don't think I even have a right to hold the knowledge in that way. So I'll probably, like you, I'm waiting to evolve to that. I've had a few ask me to do, do some training sessions on it. So eventually I probably will,
Yes, well,
I'm not QHHT, none of these things that are hip. That's not how I learned any of my stuff. No offense to those people, but that's not what I do. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting though. But that's why I like working with you. You got your own thing. I got my thing. It makes for a good deal. You know what I mean?
It does. It does.
Type deal or something.
It is. And we're not gatekeepers by any means, neither of us. And it took a lot to come forward to even talk about these things that we do publicly. And so the last thing, listen, I had to, I had to really suck it up to ever talk about this publicly. And I knew that it was going to be something that I would be attacked about and things like that. And I was right. And so, yeah, I'm not ready to teach it right now. Not yet. I'm not ready. I'm still trying to come to terms with talking about it publicly, period.
Oh, I understand. That's something we have in common. Look, I talked to big game before I was like, I remember the person I had these experiences with. I told him, I'm gonna come forward one day. But the truth is that I was just fronting. I wasn't really gonna do it. You know what I mean? Then I had that car accident, and it propelled. It got me exposed. And it got me exposed as a medium, as a psychic, and as a contactee. And eventually I went ahead and did an interview, and it led to where I'm at now. You know what I mean? Which is odd. I didn't think anyone would listen. I can't prove nothing. And the last thing I wanted is this part of my life on Front Street. Because, I go through that stuff, and I'd spend, you have no idea how long trying to figure out everything that happened to me, every facet of it, obsessing about it, and obsessively hiding it as well.
Yes.
And then when I had all the answers, I was going to come forward, but that was never going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, but the time the earth has changed, humanity has changed, and these things are more acceptable now. Like I guarantee you, even 5 years ago, you had mentioned Sasquatch, people probably be like, oh, laughing. And now it's like, now you can go get beef jerky with Sasquatch soap, Bigfoot soap.
You can scrub your booty with some Sasquatch soap. That's right. Everybody's got it. Actually, I saw somebody, was it like Shaq or somebody was promoting Sasquatch soap. Some big name the other day. I was like, dang, this Sasquatch stuff's come a long way. Okay. But he's always promoting something. That man's got his hand in everything.
I had heard something real quick, and I tried desperately to find it again to send it to you, and I can't.
Okay.
It was like on either Bigfoot Project or Bigfoot Case Files. It was an account of somebody encountering a Sasquatch that seemed to be extremely sick, but also starving. And it was a negative encounter, but it was just fascinating to hear it, and to hear one that appeared to be a rogue that was in really bad shape.
That's
terrible. What I mean? It is, but we don't think
different. You never hear that.
Like the derelicts that they get kicked out and things of that, rather than and the person said that they suspected that it was mentally ill too, on top of everything else. So it makes you wonder, what does their society do with mentally illness in individuals, or individuals
probably exiles them, and they go out and they starve and maybe can't fend for themselves. Who knows? We don't know. But that is a good point. Yeah. A Phoenix is on to us, Barry. They know our secret. We're from the future. That's funny. Jess and Barry admit it. You two are from the future, yes. I'm from the future and the past and the present.
I've seen some things in the future.
I'm multidimensional. I'm all over the place. Okay. Yeah.
You know, I think that right now is a time when everybody can have a show and do all this type of stuff, and that's part of us going forward as humanity. But I urge everybody to please use discernment. Please use discernment with everybody you listen to. That includes Jessica and I. Use discernment, do your own research, evaluate your own experiences. You know what I mean? I just hear so much. I can't say the word BS. My BS meter is going off right now all the time. I mean, I hear stuff that is so far-fetched that even somebody as weird as me doesn't buy it. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. But when you have people looking for answers, and for reality is this stuff like we're doing now, or any of this information, what does it do to help your life? You know, how is this going to help you deal with the death process and not losing who you are? When you go to the deep sea of awareness. I might do a live about that actually in a few days and talk about stuff like this. I think this is important. We don't have much time, and we don't have a lot of time to waste. You know, people talk about reincarnation cycles and this and that. What is it really? Beyond what just people are saying as us as beings of perception and beings of the creator, what does that mean? How do we keep our energy field and our perception and cognitive abilities together after the body and the brain is gone?
Okay.
Why doesn't the personality die, Jessica? How come we can carry trauma from this life, another life, to another body? By what medium does it transfer from body to body? It's not physical.
Those are some deep questions right there, Barry. I don't know. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I remember. Well, it hadn't been that good. It's good now, but I mean, there's been some ups and downs, you know. But I'm here for the ride. I'm here for the adventure, and that's what it's all about. And I don't know. We're never going to figure all this out. But I always used to say when I was young, I used to say, "Well, I'll have it all figured out when I die. I'll get all the answers when I die. When I die. Well, dag nabbit, I want to know now. I don't want to wait till I die to know all the answers.
Yes,
exactly. I want to know now. So exactly. Yeah. Christy Martin is asking, can you do hypnosis with her sometime? And Barry, I was gonna, of course, at the end of the show, we always give out your email address and everything. And you have a new client here.
Christy, you can email me at barrylittleton13@gmail.com. And I forgot it to where I checked my thing. I don't think it's spamming stuff anymore. I'm actually getting people's messages now. So shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to set up a schedule with you. I do them remotely through Zoom, and it's just as effective as being in person, which I never thought was possible until I actually started doing it.
Oh, yeah.
I got asked to do it a lot after people discovered I did Earthbound Spirit Release. And I asked to do it remotely. I was like, I've never done it remotely. I don't think it'll work. And then other hypnotists told me, yeah, we'll try it. So I did, and it worked on somebody who's everyone could go under, but some people takes a little less or longer. This person went under as quick as they did in person. I couldn't believe it. But it is what it is. Since then, I always do it remote too. So I'd be happy to. Thank you for asking.
Oh gosh. I saw in the chat, you guys are saying that was Mike Tyson that had the squash soap. I was totally wrong. I just see Shaquille O'Neal. I've actually met Shaquille O'Neal in person. I ran into him one day by accident. Literally ran into him in Atlanta. And it was Mike Tyson. I like him too. Okay. So he was promoting. I remember seeing him. I was like, what is Mike Tyson doing promoting squash soap? Everybody wants to smell good. Squatchy.
I gave up on my boy Mike before his last fight, which was just disappointing as all get out.
Oh, that was all staged.
He's doing an interview with his son, and the cat didn't have on no pants, no underwear. He's walking around butt naked.
Oh,
was
I
like,
saw
what are they
that.
doing? Wait, that was so late.
It's
Got
all
the
for my.
thumbs
But you
down.
know what? Look, we're on here. It is April the 3rd at 10:25 p.m. Eastern, and we are talking about it. And that was the whole reason why he did it, so people would talk about it. And here we
I'm
are.
sure everybody was talking about it. It sucked. It was pretty lame. It was like, you know, he knew he's going to go out there and lose.
Well, at least we know he had a clean ass. Okay, he's using his squash soap.
Oh, God, I'm not going to that. Come on now. But I will say this
Oh
much
my
more.
God.
You do what,
I know.
16 punches that whole fight?
That
They
was
got how many
staged, Barry.
million for that?
That's called rigged. Okay,
Yeah,
that's called rigged. Everything's
somebody
rigged.
was breaking it down like how much it was per punch,
Allegedly.
like 23,000 per punch or some weird number.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Don, thank you. I love the suggestions, y'all. If you guys have suggestions, we throw them in the pot, so to speak, of targets. So yeah, if you guys have any more suggestions, I saw some in the chat tonight. We'll throw those in the pot, potentially maybe for some future targets that I can do.
That would be great. We could just
that would be fun.
Pull one.
Yeah, like bingo.
So many requests.
Look at the bingo roller.
People even ask me how I'm doing. Hey, can you give Jessica this?
I know. If we only had $1 for all of them, I tell you what. Dawn says maybe Jess could RV the planet Lanulos, where Indrid Cold said he was from and where Woody Derenberger was taken to. Now, I did remote view Ingrid Cold a long time ago, and so I have a show on that, but I did not remote view his planet. But that is it was from a long time ago when I did that one. So yeah, that was a weird story. Oh yeah, Connor, Bigfoot Anon had done some commercials with Sasquatch soap as well. That Squatch soap, and it made us. Don said it made a skin itch. I'm sorry.
I don't know who that is. Connor Flynn.
Yeah, Connor, Bigfoot Anon. That's one of my buddies. He's from down in Florida. He's a Bigfooter as well. So, yeah, man, Barry, this has been a great show. It's been a lot of fun, and I think we've got a lot to think about tonight after that data. And what do you think? I mean, after this, I'm pretty sure I know what you think. I mean, there's something under the pyramids, right? There's something about the pyramids. It's way more than what we've been told. They're not tombs, definitely. Power generators of some sort.
Well, there's certain things, like something you didn't see, which is something I've always heard about, is that underneath the Great Pyramid, there's not just water, but there are these souls that are called sleeping survivors that are trapped in that water. And they're supposed to be liberated when the Christ consciousness comes back to the planet. I've heard that for a long time, and you didn't see anything like that. You didn't see any water down there, name one, that I know of. And
no.
Two, definitely not any souls trapped down there like that.
Hold on. Let me see what my ideograms were. Hold on one second. I had person, power. I had double power for my ideograms. Okay. Well, I mean, I won't show it to you. My ideograms were person, power, no water. Doesn't mean there wasn't water, but I'm just saying. I also thought I was seeing shampoo. I'm kidding. Yeah, I didn't see that. It doesn't mean it wasn't there, though, Barry.
Mm-hmm. And, I wonder were they actually using nuclear, or was it something more advanced? I just think of civilization that advanced where they're really using nuclear, but you are describing power stacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you say they were smoking too? Were they smoking? Is that what you said?
That's what I was seeing. What I was seeing was like a nuclear power site. And that's why we're at Vogel down. Yeah. Power. Yeah, Vogel, nuclear. I wrote down nuke Vogel stacks. Is what I wrote down. Nuke Vogel stacks. Because I was seeing the big, like gigantic chimneys with the stuff coming out of them. It's like I don't know if it's smoke or if it's like humidity, like steam. I think it's steam. That would be water, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, fascinating.
Because they're right there by the rivers and the creeks too, right? So, I mean, the nuclear power plants are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Very interesting. You know what? When dealing with things like cold fusion, it's done with no heat. I'm not saying that's what that was, but it just brings things like that to my mind. And I just assume that, it's similar because I know that with a lot of the organic craft, there's a definite life energy that they can pull from water. And that's why I was assuming that this was involved somehow as well. But then again, like we'd mentioned, that there was supposed to be another, besides the Nile, was supposed to be another river source there in Giza that's there no longer. That's what's said. And that's what this pyramids were dealing with that too. So I don't know. I think it's just hard to compartmentalize these things all the way around just by the data you got alone, from all the different times you've had targets on it.
Oh yeah. I see this. No, one more hour, Joanne. I would do it, but my son has school tomorrow and it's getting late. Thank you, Joanne. That's so sweet. She said I was late getting in. Can you guys go on at least one more hour, please? And see, here's the problem. If we go on one more hour, we're going to be talking about God knows what. Okay. If you know Barry and I, after we get through with all the important stuff, we start talking about whatever comes to mind. Okay. And there's no telling because we have some pretty
I'll throw it in there for you, Joanne, since you just got here. I'll throw it in. They'll keep Jessica here at least 5 more minutes. Why don't you tell everybody what's this? So we're never gonna do a show on it probably ever. Why don't you tell everybody what you saw when I gave you the blind target of the honey swamp monster?
I don't remember. I have no idea. The honey swamp monster.
Dewey, sorry, not Dewey. Dewey.
Oh, the Dewey Lake monster. The Dewey Lake monster.
Yes, Dewey.
Oh, that was.
That sounds like
I was seeing something that was off planet, something that came here on a meteor. I was literally saying. So, does everybody know what the Dewey Lake monster is? Okay, it looks. Where is that even located, Barry? I don't remember. Say Dewey Lake, wherever that is. So,
I'm just kidding.
I think it's somewhere in the Midwest, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. But the Dewey Lake monster, it looks like a Bigfoot, but it has webbed fingers, right? And and Barry gave me that as on those targets, and I was picking up on something that came from outer space and on a meteor, or like a meteorite or something, and it's something that crashed into the Earth, and we decided not to do a show on that one because it was so weird. It was so weird. And I figured it was pretty off target, but it might not have been off target. I don't know.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of witnesses called that thing the whistling bear. So for me, that took into what you've seen on multiple targets. Some didn't have anything to do with targets I gave you, but you've seen what do you always call it? The bear. The you call it something. The man. What do you call it?
Oh, the zombie bear.
Zombie bear, yeah. And the way that that's describing this whistly bear thing, that's what I figured you might come up with something. Is that the origin of the zombie bear? Or is that what you were viewing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. That's wild. I don't know. It was it didn't seem like it would, but I don't know. It's like a Sasquatch with webbed fingers. So like, what is it? I mean, where do all these things come from? We don't know. Akon,
I think, and you kind of had an AI thing with that too, didn't you?
I did. It was very futuristic to be a cryptid like that. So I don't know. Maybe I'd like to say the target was I was just off target, but I mean, was I? I don't know.
What it said about Napoleon? It said that he's the one that pulled the nose off the Sphinx because it was too black. It was a black nose.
Really?
So he pulled it off. And that's why they say that's why a lot of those old first dynasty figurines, the nose is disfigured on them because they look very black. They don't want you to know that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Napoleon was also on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and he was a time traveler as well. So, yeah, we talked about that before. We did.
I've never seen that movie all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Right?
It's been 25 years since I saw that, probably, or more. But Akon says Napoleon. I think it was said that the pyramids sparkled and glistened from miles and miles away like diamonds. Weird, like that picture that I posted It's okay. I forgive you for being late, Akon. It's okay. It's all right. Let's see. Let me pull this picture back up because this is really cool. So he said that Napoleon said that it sparkled and glistened like diamonds. That's wild. That makes me think that like maybe this was made. I mean, what do you think that rock was on the outside? Somebody in the chat said limestone. I was thinking like alabaster or something. I mean, some kind of like quartz, maybe. I don't know. If it glistened like diamonds, boy, that'd be something else to see.
I'm pretty sure that in both those books, Elizabeth Hayes and also Great Pyramid of the Waters, the Great Pyramid, they talk about what the outer coating was. Now, what they said, I can't recall, but I remember them talking about that. And about how much different the capstone was than all the rest of it. And the capstone was gold, almost gold and like orgone accumulator, more or less.
Wow. That makes me, and this has no relation to this, I'm sure, but in Georgia, our state capital in downtown Atlanta is covered. It's a dome, Tartarian architecture, by the way. And the dome is, we call it the gold dome because there's there's like a thin layer of gold at the very top of the state capitol. And they say that if you were to take all the gold, it's like flake gold, like it's like paper thin. And they said that if you were to take the whole, and I used to work at the Capitol. Okay, so this is how I know this. So that if you took all the gold, the layers, the gold leaf off of it, and you crumbled it into a ball, it'd be about the size of a softball. But it'd be gold. Okay, so it's just interesting. But yeah, it's a conductor, right? Gold is a conductor. And what is it? We were talking about the Anunnaki, right? Or didn't they allegedly came here they created humans to go be slaves and mine for gold and stuff like that?
According to Zechariah Sitchin.
Yeah.
But when you listen to somebody like Neil Tyson deGrasse, which he's correct on, gold is not rare in the universe, especially you start dealing with asteroids, 20 times the gold we have on Earth. So why do all that here? And just so they can make a force out of a slavery force out of Homo sapien. And that's already assuming that we had to be evolved, that we weren't already an evolved species that they were messing with because we're warlike. If you listen to what Credo Mutala says, he's coming more from that angle. Just the only thing different he's saying is that humanity was originally androgynous.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't say that that's true, but I find the different tales ancestrally about creation is interesting, especially when you start going around listening culturally what we hear.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I saw that comment from Firewater by Design saying she thinks I should remote view the Phil Schneider unaliving. Gosh, that would be a tough one to do right there. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what really happened to him. It would. That would be one that that would not be my first choice of a remote viewing, but I have done way worse, I promise. As far as worse than being like, I've done a lot of missing persons cases and cold cases, and the majority of those are people who have been unalived brutally a lot of times. So yeah, I haven't done one of those in a while. It's probably been the last time I did a missing persons case. Sometimes I still get those occasionally. Somebody will send me some coordinates. Somebody on one of my teams. I need some help. Actually, I remember last year I got one. It was actually a little boy that had died, and they needed to track down who had done it. And it was in another country, but it was a friend of a friend. It was their kid, and me and the other remote viewer who did it got the exact same description for the culprit who did it, and it turned out to be exactly the description of who they caught that did it. So, and by that I mean like description of what they look like, and the whole why they did it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if something were to happen to, people talk smack about remote viewers, y'all, but if something ever happened to you and you had something happened to a family member or somebody was missing, you better contact a remote viewer. Okay. Cause they're going to be the ones that can help you. Okay. And That would be my advice. That would be my advice.
Remember, you and I met that one remote viewer that had done a bunch of missing cases. They were a hero. You remember them?
Barry.
What?
What you're talking about. Okay.
Poking the bear. Poking the bear. The zombie bear. Poking the zombie bear.
Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap the show up tonight. I'm wrapping it up. Everybody, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. This has been a fun show. Barry knows how to turn my face red. Okay. On air. Cryptidville, it says Bigfoot is purported to whistle. Very interesting. Yeah, we were talking about that Dewey Lake monster. You said that they whistle, and I've heard bears, not bears. I've heard Bigfoots whoop in the woods, and they do whistle occasionally too.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like it's like a, what do you call it? Like when bats do that, it's like a sonar kind of thing. It's like they're just triangulating. That's what the Bigfoots do.
The thing about that, the Dewey monster was described as not being a Bigfoot, though. It kept described as looking much more like a bear with webbed hands. You know, even a little different than what would be a type 4 with the muzzle. Is even different described than that. That didn't quite make it. But you know how much I've always been very, very, very minorly obsessed with Sasquatch and their potential connection with the aquatic ape theory. I mean, the stuff I've heard about them swimming is unreal. The amount of time they can hold their breath, how fast they can swim, and how aquatic they seem to be. Far more than us. You know, I mean, well, to be honest, they're just better on this planet than us. It makes me kind of be a little bit envious of them. The way they can just run up hills like it's nothing. They go up snow ridges. They can step on things that would cut a military uniform to shreds, you know? And as we hear somebody saying that, say, man, if I had on camouflage army come through that thicket, it would have tore it up. This Bigfoot came through that. Stuff like that, I think it's quite incredible, to be honest. Incredible part of genetic engineering, let's put it like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we live in a wondrous world with a lot of wondrous beings here. And I don't know. I can't believe, look, when I was a kid, if you had told me that I would be, first of all, doing this as an adult, looking into Bigfoot and chasing monsters around the woods, I would have been like, wow, that's cool, but I wouldn't have believed you ever. I wouldn't have believed me or whoever. But I learned something new every single day, Barry. And I learned every time you come on the show, I learned something new. And I learned about new creatures and these targets you give me with these weird creatures and critters and stuff. And just to find out that the things that we told were fairy tales are real life.
Often are.
Okay.
Often are.
Yeah, they're real life. So if you can imagine it, it's probably real. I'm sorry, it just is somewhere in some dimension at least. But Barry, this has been a really great show tonight, and I really do appreciate you being here tonight and hanging out with us. And yeah,
hey, real quick, just to sum it up real quick. So
Mm-hmm.
the overall data on everything, just make sure we get this, because I know we started joking around again, is that we're dealing with a type of a power plant of some sort, potentially transporting craft as well. And we combine the other data with it that was designed basically by different races of giants dealing with more or less vortex energy, that is sound technology and a few other things, but more basically sound technology. So we see who kind of had built them, as well as what they do and what's underneath. So you kind of got a whole gist of it. And I think it's important, just anything I might have missed there, you could put sharper than me, but I think it's important that people know all that we went over here. There was a lot of good information. That was not just me joking with you at the end.
Okay. Well, I gotta. Okay, so I was just looking over the data for that, the targets you gave me about who built the pyramid, who built the pyramids there, and guess what I have on page 2, stage 4 of the first target you gave me with that Wi-Fi. And we were talking about, it's a whole lot of radio data, a lot of sound transmission, a lot of sound frequency data. ETs and aliens too, but on the second page, the first thing that I wrote down under AOL after burst and floating and covered, I was getting all this data, but I was picking up on radio waves and sound frequencies and stuff. CB and shortwave radios and things like that. White noise, mechanical, electrical noises is what I was hearing. But I wrote down, and this was the pyramid, what we remote viewed for tonight. I wrote down Wi-Fi. Tonight we're talking about the Pyramid of Giza, whatever's underneath it. It's some sort of like a Wi-Fi device. It's just like, worldwide Wi-Fi, basically wireless energy, right? Some kind of wireless transmission, on some of the pyramids and some of the depictions on there, it looks like somebody's holding their hand up with a Wi-Fi signal on their hand. You remember that?
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah.
What if that's there's nothing new under the sun, right?
And maybe just a different type of Wi-Fi that's direct energy transfer opposed to communication. Yep. You know what I mean? Or even musical. Because, I've been told for a long time that the pyramids are actually activated musically.
Yes.
And, when we start looking at that and looking at actually what, ancient Kemet was saying, that dancing and music are actually technologies, especially dancing.
Wow.
And that they unlock other technologies, which would be things that don't fit our third dimensional thinking and parameters. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, I've heard people describing trying to actually musically reactivate the pyramids.
Oh my God. I'm looking at my drawing for my second target I did for that, like who built the pyramids, and it looks like the Wi-Fi signal going up, just like I talked about, which it looks like the hand, and there's like the Wi-Fi signal that we have on our phones and everything. Well, it's on my laptop, so you won't be able to see it through the computer. Yeah. Wow. Knowing today about this target if I had known back then, this is wild. It's just, it kind of goes together there.
Wow. It does.
Yeah.
Type 2 civilization in the past. Type 1, type 2. It sounds almost type 2 to me.
Wi-Fi loose collecting device. Yeah. I guess. I don't know, but I also was picking up on a lot of radiation for that as well, when they were, looking into who made these. And so anyways, you guys can. Oh, and the picture that I drew also looks like an ankh too. I know there's you can't see it. I can't, there's no way I could show it to you from here to there, but it looks like I drew an ankh there too for that one as well.
You think that could maybe have any reason, anything to do with why some of the portals seem to emit more radiation? Could it be something have to do with that era? Maybe that's unnatural for them to emit that much radiation that's harmful to us. Makes you kind of wonder, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I don't know. A lot of people sit in portable pyramids. Joanne's saying my aunt used to sit under a portable pyramid. Her son got her every day. And I think it was Adolph was in the chat earlier tonight saying that if you put a pyramid over your garden, your plants will grow better. They'll grow bigger and more healthy. So, yeah, I know people that wear those little, like a copper pyramid over their heads. It's like a hat and stuff, so I don't know. We're tapping into something. We're definitely tapping into something. But nonetheless, wow. I need to go back and really look through that data for these other targets that we did on the Giza pyramids, because I think it's all connected. It's all related. And this is kind of a fun show tonight, kind of cool. And I hope everybody in the audience enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something, or at least you were entertained, right? Oops, my finger hit a button.
We stayed serious for at least over 2 hours.
For 2 hours, we were serious. Okay, so we did pretty good. Just to go back through some of these pictures from tonight. Okay, and and there's that right there. That picture right there is of an extra chamber that was hidden that they didn't know about, that they found not too long ago. And don't forget our pyramids of Mesoamerica down in Central America, y'all. Okay, with the Mayans and the Aztecs and the Incas. So Barry, where can everybody find you? I know you hopefully you'll be going live this weekend, right? Maybe do a little live show.
I thought I was losing my fan base. Anyway, a lot is mentioned about how a lot of that technology was dematerialized out of the Great Pyramid. That's another conversation. You can reach me at barrylittleton13@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook. I'm on YouTube. Please come over and subscribe. There's like 370 videos there. I noticed recently they're not showing the videos anymore. You click on my deal, there's like just a little line of videos and playlist, and that's it. So you have to go in and actually look at the playlist. I'm definitely being sequestered on YouTube. So anyway, the other place is Patreon. I'm on there. I'm also on Instagram, all under Barry Littleton. No cool handles or anything.
Oh yeah, y'all please go over and subscribe. I think most people in here are probably subscribed to your channel, but if you haven't, I am on podcast platforms too, y'all. So if you want to listen to me in the car or whatever, y'all go find me on podcast platforms. I do upload the shows right after the shows at night or during the day, and so those are pretty updated over there if you guys want to listen to me on podcasts. But yeah, y'all go subscribe to Barry, and y'all please come back and see me this weekend. I'm going to be, we'll be going on the hunt Saturday night at 10 p.m. Okay. And I am so tired right now, y'all. I've got just hit me like a ton of bricks. So I'm going to go get my young into bed tonight, get me some sleep, and figure out what the heck Barry's laughing at.
Is it somebody said king turned over there? That's funny. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Well, you can't say we don't have fun. Okay. We do have fun over here. Yeah. Thank you, Heather. She's been sub for a while over on your channel. And
thank you.
Yeah, everybody, thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I have the best chat on the internet. I 100% do. And I want to thank everybody. Super Saiyan Yet, thank you for the gifting all those memberships, and congrats to everybody who got memberships tonight as a gift from Super Saiyan Yet. And thank you for that super sticker. And also, Kent, thank you for that super sticker and your support. And Firewater by Design, thank you so much for that super sticker. And welcome to the Hunt Club, Kevin Bode. Okay. Or Bodie. I think it's Bode. But thank y'all so much. And please come back and see me on Saturday. And yeah, y'all never stop learning, everybody. Okay. And we're gonna continue to do targets, and if nothing else, we're just having fun. Okay. This is all for entertainment purposes. Don't come at me, anybody, okay? Because it's just data. What we're talking about is just data. It doesn't mean we're solving, the world's problems or anything. We're just looking into things, having a good time. So everybody have a great night tonight. If you want access to all my data, please go join my Patreon. And if you're a Patreon member who's a VIP member and you have not received your gift, I probably don't have your mailing address. Okay, so please send me your mailing addresses if you're a VIP member. And I want to thank all my Patreon members from the bottom of my heart. Y'all are the best. Okay, y'all have a wonderful night. Stay safe out there. Keep your head on a swivel, though. We're living in wild times right now. And I'm sending all my love and light to you guys. And I'll see you back here this weekend. All right, see you, Barry. Bye, y'all.